'cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together.
How can I save you when you're tangled in your lies? Caught up in the middle, I can see it in your eyes. Lonely in the corner, waiting for somebody to come and save you from the cold of night. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye? Quiet like the ocean, with the rumble running deep. This is how I see you, when you hide your feels from me. Why you heavy-hearted? Cut the silence, talk to me. Release your mind, get what you need. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye?
nothing stopping us now. Ain't nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. Ain't nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now.
waiting here for a little while. Keep me on my toes, 'cause that's just his style. Baby, can you make your move? 'Cause we don't have forever. Baby, I could take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Just say that you'll be, say that you'll be. I'd be there for you whenever you need me. But you've been holding back. Maybe you're just not ready. Baby, do you feel the same? Or do you feel the pressure? I promise I can take your pain and turn it into pleasure. Into pleasure. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. As time goes by, my love grows stronger. Can you feel it the same way I do? As time goes by, I can't wait any longer. Just say that you'll be with me too. Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. And even when it seems like there's no way out, we'll grow a little closer. We water, we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. 'Cause we're better together. Better as one. 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 Deep minds, we were forced to be alone. Unknowns and nowhere is the same. Grow a little closer, we're water, we flow. All of us together, we're good, we flow. Nothing is the same, but I won't hold back. I won't hold back. I won't hold back. Cause we're better together. Better as one. Better together. Better as one. Better together.
to come and save you from the cold of night. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye? Quiet like the ocean, with the rumble running deep. This is how I see you, when you hide your feels from me. Why you heavy-hearted? Cut the silence, talk to me. Release your mind, get what you need. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye?
nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. Ain't nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now. Ain't nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. Ain't nothing stopping us now. Keep running, we coming. We got nothing stopping us now. التحرك الاول This is incredible. It's how it goes at the top. الفي ممكن يفعل اللاعب الاخير امام اللاعبين كثار. I give it look in my eyes. يعملها مؤمن ولا ما يعملهاش هي اليمين ولا مين. I got a lot on the line. This with a different approach. All has been time in the boat. مروان من البطولة الان حب النيد ما تقولش في العطان يعطيها تكون هي للاحلام.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Today is our 4th day of the final week of League Play right here for the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. And of course we're back with all the action the Africa region has to offer. Now yesterday we saw the Arab Golden team locking in their second winner chicken dinner in the series, as well as the players then from VGS closing the gap onto the team from 1 million, fighting to the top for this week. Now, of course, Titans, they've also been super consistent once again in their performances just yesterday. We've seen a very healthy spread, right? The teams were super active. But today, as we move in, we get to see how the teams continue their fight, trying to lock in those top 12 slots. As we know, it is still a very contentious position to play across. Because my name is DK and I'm accompanied by the one and only Proxy. how are you doing today?
Feeling good, ready to see the action that is waiting for us today, DK. As we know, 2 more days worth of play left for these teams to really push the envelopes, get themselves up on the overall rankings, get themselves up on the grand total rankings, fighting for those extra 20 points, and overall just outdo themselves as they have done in the previous weeks. So it is going to be a good day.
Yeah, it's going to be a very crazy day. Looking to see what the teams are going to bring on forward. And of course, I'd love to remind our viewers about our socials. So be sure to hit us up there. You can reach us on YouTube, on the PUBG Mobile Esports Meta channel, as well as on Facebook. Then, of course, on TikTok. And be sure to include the hashtag. And now, while you're there, be sure to tell us what your expectations are, right? Your hopes and your dreams for your favorite teams coming into today. Who do you want to see lock in an absolutely insane performance with regards to those winner chicken dinners? Or potentially you could even tell us, who do you think is going to be the team to end at the top of the log? A very crazy performance, as we know, is in store, as this is going to be day number 4. The teams are running out of opportunities to still lock in those points. But as we know, we've also changed up our format. So by this time, we are pretty accustomed to it, right? We've done away with those super weekends entirely. And it's still down on that final week in which we have all 20 teams participating to not only move into the top 12 to participate on our Livik match, but also the final opportunity to try and lock in those much needed points for the approach towards the finals, right? And also the overall rankings for the week, the teams will be awarded their bonus points. But to add on to that, we are going to be looking at the culmination of all the points from the previous phases, adding them together, and then also awarding bonus points from that point forward. So it's going to be 2 opportunities for these teams in this week to still lock in those points and gain those extra bonus points.
Of course, getting that much closer to the grand finals of PMPL Africa Fall, it is going to be so spicy. As we know, the teams have already adapted so much from the start of not only last season, the start of this season, going from week to week, even day to day. Already after Thursday's break, we saw a fantastic performance yesterday with teams really making a push. I mean, Desert Flame and Darkness yesterday really trying their absolute best to just jump up on those overall standings. And for the week, of course, we know they need to get themselves into the top 12 hopefully remain there. But it has been so good. And DK, we can take a look at the calendar. Of course, we know that they've had a tiny little break in between week 2 and week 3.
Yeah, the slightest of breaks, right? I mean, it's nothing crazy. Only 8 days. You know, what's 8 days? they've become accustomed to that 1-day break between Tuesday, Wednesday, and then moving into Friday. But as we've seen, the teams really utilizing that time period to come up with some very dominating strategies and look to utilize them out onto the battlefield. So, as we know, right, today being the 24th, tomorrow is going to be the 21st, and that is going to be that final opportunity to bring in those much needed points. And after that, the next stop's going to be the finals, right? So we are just 1 day, aside from today, 1 day away from knowing which 16 teams are going to be progressing forward into this season of the PMPL Africa finals.
It's going to be good. And again, I just love the fact that we're still talking about different teams moving into this phase of PMPL. I mean, yesterday we saw Seoul Esports and Leaders really jumping to the top of the rankings. Leaders, of course, picking up elimination after elimination. Seoul Esports actually managing to reign supreme at the top without, well, picking up a single winner chicken dinner. And they were our placement point leaders in yesterday's matches. Of course, Titans were the elimination leaders, nothing too surprising there, but it's good just to see the changes moving on in.
Yeah, quite a few changes to come on through. And of course, as we know, right, the only way the teams are going to be able to make a change on those rankings is through utilizing the point structure. So the large maps being worth 15 points for that winner chicken dinner, trickling all the way down to the donut at the end. And of course, tomorrow then, when we get into Livik, the winner chicken dinner there is going to be worth an additional 10 points. So a nice little bit of a change up, but only 12 teams will be participating. And again, that 1 point being awarded per elimination. And we've seen teams really just locking that in. I mean, if we look at the overall performances that we've had, right, a team like Titan Gaming, for instance, they've already secured 418 eliminations.
Yeah, again, this is why we say you don't want to be going up against Titan Gaming when it comes to a one-on-one battle, a 4-on-4. Well, even sometimes that 1-on-4, you know, it seems so enticing. It seems on paper like it should really not go the way of Titans, but they have been absolutely dominating so far with these engagements. But of course, we know it's not the only way that these teams can get points, and it's not the only way that they have been pushing for those points. I mean, you've been seeing a good focus of placement. Even some teams changing that shift, changing that balance, as Leaders obviously jumped in with a little bit more of that placement point balance. But ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see how today's games are going to be unfolding.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, right, our teams are broken down into groups. We've got Group A, B, C, D, and E. So moving into our very first map, Group E is going to be sitting out that very first game, then Group D, then Group C, then Group B, and then finally in match number 5, Group A is going to be sitting out as well. So if the viewers watch and they wonder where their team is, that's the reason why you're not seeing your team is they're most likely in one of the groups, or in the group, rather, that is sitting out for that particular match. But yes, I mean, we've really seen some movers and shakers come through. And as we approach that Livik game tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at the Legends of War, Slime4 KT, Seoul Esports, and TEAMLAG. Statistically speaking, it should be one of those teams to reign supreme over on Livik, based on what we've had in our previous two. But we'll all have to wait and see how it unfolds, how we approach that. But looking at the current positioning of these teams as they come through, and we'll of course take a look at those overall rankings momentarily, we can see what that situation is, where the teams find themselves. But again, right, some really formidable foes coming through from the entire selection of teams we have here.
Yeah, no, everyone has really been stepping up. And of course, we know that they have to. This is the last week of league play. This is their last opportunity to get themselves into the top 16 slots for the grand totals. You know, make sure not only they get those bonus points, but also that they just qualify to come back next weekend to show us what they have been building on and how they have improved. I mentioned it yesterday. If there was a way that we could have the teams playing themselves from their day one performances till today, we would see such a dramatic change. Even on the one-on-ones, the 4v4s, just the way that the teams are engaging and choosing when to start their battles, we have already seen such a massive shift in focus.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely beautiful progression the teams have brought through. And of course, speaking about the progression, like, let's take a look at those overall rankings, in which we see 1 million and the place from Virtual Gaming Squad only being separated by 1 single point. Virtual Gaming, of course, sitting with those 4 winner chicken dinners, 1 million locked in with a 2. But as we move a little bit further down, we can see the Arab Golden team finding both their winner chicken dinners in this week. And as I've mentioned before, all their winner chicken dinners have been brought in this final phase, this week 3, right? So a very exciting performance coming in, but it is still a very contentious position on this first page, and that of course continues even more so towards that second page. I mean, we've got Slime4 KT currently sitting on those 85 points, locked into 8th place. But as we'll see now when we move into our second page, there's going to be Desert Flame situated up in towards 9th position, very hard on their heels, but also sitting on 85 points. So I'm expecting quite a bit of change, quite a bit of shifting coming through as the teams move on. But Darkness, this is what we love to see, right? We've been asking over the previous 2 weeks for Darkness to rise to the occasion, and they've surely done so, sitting quite comfortably now in 10th place with 84 points to the name.
And of course, they're not going to stop at any point in time, especially not at this point. Yes, as it stands currently, they are qualifying themselves for Livik, but of course, we know that they are rushing on those grand total standings to get themselves up into 16th place. And I would say every single team here is trying to do the same, even though they can already find themselves in a comfortable position for that top 12 placement on Sunday tomorrow for that Livik game. They need to obviously worry about the grand standings. How are they going to be looking moving into next week? Are they going to be joining us in next week? As we know, unfortunately, 4 teams will have to sit out and just watch as all the action unfolds. And we know for this week, those 4 teams in particular are going to be on that 3rd page. So let's take a look and see who those 4 teams are and how they're going to be pushing it today.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be opening up quite a few avenues for excitement to come through, right? We have been seeing the efforts being put up, and we know all 4 of these teams that are situated right here have the capability to elevate themselves even more so. But I think there's going to be quite a bit of pressure, especially looking at the players here from Mad Knight and Super Young Stars, because on the grand standings, right, if we go take a look at those, that's where we can see that they are still situated on that 2nd page. But there's not a lot of separation, right? There's still a lot of space for these teams to move up. So if they really focus their efforts coming into today and tomorrow, that could be sufficient to potentially see them get themselves out of the danger zone, right? In our grandstanding situation.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunities, as we know, and that's why the teams are still going to be putting forward their best foots. Moving into today and tomorrow's games, they definitely need to make sure that they bring everything into their performances.
Yeah, speaking about performances, a good way to boost it is by, popping a Monster. So we want to give a big shout out there to Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. But as we know, right, aside from Monster, we also have another fantastic sponsor, which is Oppo. So, born to win, welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 7 series. And we've been talking about these phones. They are right here in and amongst myself and Ez. You can see them, the lovely black and orange. I didn't say pumpkin this time around. It's orange, right? We can see those phones. I mean, what other color did you call it the other day?
I said mustard, but I'm
Yes.
still not sure. It's like gold now.
It's that.
It's gold.
Well, if someone knows the exact color, tell us, because we've got this debate, right? It's either mustard, orange, or
Gold?
what was the one that I called it? Well, you called it gold, and then there was another color that we had. But either which way, of course, a big love going out to both Monster and Oppo. But as we know, right, this being day number 4, we have an entirely different map schedule coming through. So as we move in towards that, you can see we are going to be starting the day over on Erangel, moving into Miramar, following it up with a double serving of Erangel before moving into the jungle, just to have the team to unwind a little bit with a little bit of that close quarter altercation.
Yeah, I keep saying emies on days like this because there's going to be a lot of fun. And again, we mentioned yesterday how the team's starting off with that Sanhok, moving into the double dose of Erangel, then onto the double dose of Miramar. We generally do see the teams bringing in a lot more action. This week, however, has been a completely different experience for us, especially starting Tuesday and Wednesday. The teams immediately brought that presence of mind back. They brought back, the breaks, and they said, listen, let's focus on those placements. We had like 16 teams towards, the final 4 to 5 phases, and it gets crazy. It really does get crazy. But yesterday, the pace was picked up, and today I'm expecting a similar result. I mean, with all of these doses of Erangel, it is the bread and butter, DK. We know that these players absolutely, they just move it on Erangel.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to get quite toasty, right? That's what we're hoping for, and maybe we could have a nice bit of variety with regards to those flight paths and where those initial zones are going to be going. But of course, as we know, right, we make match of the day, looking to see what the PUBG gods have in store for us. Any predictions that you might think of where you don't want the zone to go?
Where I don't want the zone to go, so I need to think where I want it. Okay, no, but if I say, I feel like this is a reverse psychology situation. If I say where I don't want it to go, it's gonna go there. Okay, I don't want it to go south.
Okay, so we don't want south, so we'd be happy with the north or west or an eastern zone. I have to say, I'm right on board with you with that one. We want that northern zone to come through, right? The northern zone, because that's we want to see what the teams are going to be doing, and just it also brings quite a bit of difficulty with regards to rotations, positioning, and strategies, especially when it takes those southern shifts. So we want to see the teams really work for those points. But as we know by now, right, they are more than capable of achieving exactly that. Of course, moving into the very first match, as we saw just a few moments ago, we are going to be not seeing the players there from Group E participating in this very first one of the day, but we are going to be having to wait all too long to see what the teams are going to be doing as we are hopping straight on the plane, moving over in towards Erangel. It is day 4, match number 1. And the flight path, of course, starting over towards that multi-power position, as we can see the lovely power station down on the right-hand side. And the flight path being very centralized.
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, a good opportunity for the teams to get to their favorite placements. Of course, we know this. Yes, what did we say? We want the north. We definitely don't want the south. No, we don't like bridges. Definitely no bridges that we want here. No, absolutely not. But yeah, moving on from that. Looking at how the games have been going, you know, we had VSC picking up a winner chicken dinner in a while, at least for us in terms of the weeks that we've been going through. So it's good to see them stepping up. I'm still waiting for, you know, the likes of Super Young Stars, Legends of War, Darkness, and Mad Knight to showcase a little bit of that spice that they've been building over the last 3 weeks. We know they definitely are, you know, some of the more like fantastically capable teams. I mean, all 20 of these teams here, there's a reason they are playing on our screens right now. It's because they are some of the best in Africa. So come on, let's bring the spice. Those 4 teams are going to be the ones that I'm going to be staring at today.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the point difference coming through between all right, well,
Interesting.
it's the Western Zone. I mean, it's touching South, so we'll say it's fine.
You
But
mean the
a very
north?
centralized Western Zone coming through here, slightly complementary to the flight path. It is going to open up a great avenue of options, especially for Desert Flame. We know, right? They drop down in towards that Gatka area, and you can see them already starting to make their way on down. But 1 round, 1 million, also getting into a little bit of a potential contention up towards that more northern edges, right? North and South George. You see things could maybe turn up a little bit of heat on that front. But yes, other than that, a really good spread coming through, right? No one too, no one really hot dropping it all too much. So I think it's a decent spread, at least for the first phase coming in here.
We'll see how that second phase is going to be taking a look at. Of course, Arab Golden with a prime position to move on to that Western Bridge. So Esports might have a little bit of a longer rotation, but it's not all too crazy. We do have Blackjack, or at least Chronal from Blackjack dropping and taking a very long time to drop in particular. So I'll be keeping my eye out on what is happening there. Yeah, there's immediately a knock. So I don't know maybe what happened there, but oh well. All right, so unfortunately, Blackjack, they lose Chronal. Might have been a bit of an AFK, I guess, because the rest of Blackjack over towards the eastern portion of Jasnaya, maybe?
Yeah, that could really be
Bit
what was the case. Yeah, because that was pretty much the end of the flight path. But either which way, it is what it is. Blackjack now they're gonna have to deal with only 3 players locked into them. But we also see the players there from leaders also only starting it out with a 3-player team. So it's an interesting start to the day. 2 teams already with a few reduced numbers, but our first elimination already getting picked up there by 1 round. But as I was saying about this, the points, right? All the way from 14th to 20th, there's about 59 points separating those 2 teams. Oh, yes, it does seem like Chronal was AFK. Oh, that is super unfortunate.
It was a little... I think they just came back in that last second. And they're like, bro, come on. What's going on here? But hey, 1 round, you know, if there's an elimination to pick up, come on, give it to us. Okay, but you're telling us about the points from 14th to...
Yes, 59 points separating the players, or the teams rather, in 14th and 20th. And I mean, that's on the grand scheme of things, right?
Oh, spicy.
The master score, not this weekly performance.
Grand total standings.
Yes. I mean, for the grand total, Titan Gaming currently sitting at the top, right? They've already played 54 matches. We can see them currently on 5th place on 130 points up at the top of the screen, but they're sitting on a grand total of 764 points. After, that's all the scores for these 3 phases together. Oof. And, a few points away, we have the players in from 1 million with their 9 winner chicken dinners and 692 points. So some very impressive figures being shown by the teams, but it's still pretty competitive looking between those, 13th, 14th place all the way to 20th. All those positions can still change based on today and tomorrow's performances.
Yeah, just to keep in mind, of course, Titans the only team currently with double-digit winner chicken dinner winners. So yes, they are greedy for the chicken. So if they get more today, I'm just like, come on, it's overkill at this point in time. We need another team at least to pick up those double digits. So 1 million, please. Let's show some competition here. But fantastic overall standings. And I mean, like you mentioned, those 14th to 20th positions, still quite a bit that can change. I mean, in 2 days worth of play, 4 matches for each of the groups to take part in, definitely doable. And I mean, again, that's why I said if we were taking a look at those grand standings, that's why I'm looking at Super Young Stars, Legends of War, Darkness, and Mad Knight, as they are currently the 4 teams at the bottom that are, needing to step things up just a bit to get themselves into that top 16 so they can come back on the finals and showcase what's what. Unfortunately, either way, I shall be a little bit sad because there is going to be 4 teams that are going to have to sit out. It is what it is. It has to happen. But who those 4 teams are, that is going to be up to them. Of course, as we take a look at that zone, some teams already making some great rotations in. Lag going to be one of the first teams moving in from the eastern point to actually set themselves up quite nicely. Arab Golden teetering around that western bridge, and Seoul Esports, as we can see here, taking a very southern rotation alongside that military base island, maybe looking to cut off Arab Golden for the western bridge.
That could be a strategy, and it definitely seems like it could be on the cards for them. As we know, as we can see, of course, on the map, there's a great opportunity for them to pull off a really wide flank all the way around Arab Golden. But we also then have Angelo just creeping ever closer towards that bridge. So I think it's going to come down to timing, right? And if Seoul continues on the trend that they're currently with, that momentum, we could very likely be in a position to sneak on towards that western bridge. And as you said, set up that extra bit of a gatekeep. But of course, Blue Zone is going to start closing on up as we see it is moving forward. That means all our teams situated towards that eastern side will need to move their butts towards the zone. But of course, Myth in a good position, right, to be on the receiving end of a lot of those teams now starting to rotate through. And of course, the teams situated on the eastern side are none other than Darkness, Titan, Mad Knight, Slime 4 KT, as well as Blackjack. So there's still quite a few rotations that need to be made.
Oh, quite a few indeed. And of course, now we can take a look here at Arab Golden. It's all Esports, both making a dash for this western bridge. Raouf just a little bit too late. He's going to pop on out and see what they can pick up here from Arab Golden. Angelo now having to be the first one on the receiving end. But the rest of Arab Golden, again, it's a 2-2 split. The other 2 still within that military base island. So let's see how this one works out, DK.
Ooh, there we go. Nice assist coming through from Hemo to get the knock, and Raouf steps up with the DBS. But Ilias, quick on the response there. Just putting over on the bridge, looking to reach across. And I mean, that strategy from Seoul Esports almost working out perfectly. Unfortunately, as we saw, they came so close, but it's not over just yet, right? Arab Golden still trying to come in with a bit of an approach. Ilias also now trying to lock down this bridge. But is it going to be on the cards, right? We know both these teams are quite formidable foes.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And again, no strangers to the military base island. They both have had to make quite a few rotations, both on the western and the eastern bridge. But this time, Seoul Esports have said, no, listen, we're not going to be, so nice this time around. We're going to be fighting you for the rights to this side of the bridge. And taking a look at this now, Arab Golden going to be running with that 3 up against the rest of Seoul Esports, of course, as we know. But hey, they've got the zone, they've got the time to sit and wait for Seoul Esports to make their play.
Yeah, but Arab Golden just narrowly escaping the pressure coming through there. Just managing to slip on by. And with that, they are in a position where they can still live to fight yet another zone. But we are seeing a little bit of that congestion now starting to come in towards that more centralized zone. Of course, our teams on the east are going to be moving in. Myth also not going to be sticking around over in towards that chinky position for all too long. We do see Broly still holding the angle there. But as we jump back over on towards the western bridge, it is Arab Golden now looking to return the favor on towards Seoul Esports as they now come rotating across, still 4 players strong. But will this be sufficient for Seoul now to look to pick up the pieces and continue with this altercation?
Oh, taking a look at this, it's going to be a bit of a tough one. Absolutely is. going to just apply so much pressure for these teams. And again, that zone has just shifted a little bit more towards, you know, the northwestern portion, ultimately just centering up against its current position. So a lot of the teams jumping into center. Arab Golden, though, and Seoul Esports, as we know, they're just going to be slightly delayed as discussions are being held as to, well, which team clearly has the best driving skills and which team clearly just has such good aim. But we'll see who's going to be coming out on top, as YC is actually going to be making the play here, DK. I love this.
Yeah. Weiss not settling for, you know, having a few visitors nearby. They want to go and greet them, welcome them in with warm barrels. But let's see whether or not Rauf and Weiss are going to be able to manage that push. I'm loving this position being held here by Ilias. Just moving up on the very edge, waiting for the opportune moment to strike down. And this could be an absolutely amazing surprise element being utilized here. As you can see, of course, a little bit of aggression are starting to come in, not only towards this western bridge, but also elsewhere on the map itself as well. But here we go. Ilias still going to be waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Preps up a bit of a nade. Is it going to reach all the way across, though? Oh, Soul not seeing this one. Oh, it stops just in front of them. So Ilias just not getting that reach they've wanted. But Weiss and the rest of Soul going to continue with the barrage here. Out comes the Mollies, looking to put up a bit of a defensive angle here. Oh, unfortunately for Ilias, it doesn't really make the necessary connections. But that only allows now for Seoul Esports to continue.
Yeah, and again, they are fully focused into this one. Both teams looking for the answer. Arab Golden, they've already lost to one. They're looking for that revenge play. But Seoul Esports, I like this. Just keeping an eye on the objective. Moving into zone. They do not want to waste some time outside. Finding themselves caught up in between a rock and a hard place. Of course, we can see Legends of War and Titans, once again, also just having a bit of a staring contest towards the central band of the zone. So these two teams, they're comfortably situated within the central part. And again, next phase, they should have a relatively easy approach. But of course, Titans, we know, they're looking for a few of those eliminations.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty crazy performance, especially looking at the sheer number of teams we have sitting in the vicinity, you know, towards the center band. We've got 1 million, we got Legends, Desert Flame, Lag, Myth, Titans, we've got Legends of War. Oh, leaders are going to be sent away as Morteza now gets taken down, and that's going to be our first team off, right? Leaders not finding a single point in this match. We can see over on that left-hand side, already Slime managing to lock in 2 of those eliminations. Virtual Gaming are going to be sitting quite prettily up on towards that lovely Everest position. But let's see where this next phase is going to be taking us and who's going to be the teams that find themselves zone players. Of course, it centers up even more towards Lag, Titan, Legends of War, and the rest of the teams in the vicinity. But again, this will not only continue the difficult play that they've already been experiencing.
Of course, my eyes are right peeled towards Darkness and Mad Knight. How are they going to be working with this, and how are they going to move this into their favor? Holding that central position, Mad Knight now moving into the zone. Seoul Esports and Arab Golden still out in the blue, having, you know, discussions. Whether at least Rauf from Seoul Esports has moved into the zone, getting a good bit of information. I think they are joined by one of their teammates, so should be able to get themselves set up quite nicely. Darkness, of course, as we mentioned, within the zone, going to be able to take up some lovely compound cover. Of course, it is only going to get crazier from here, DK. We know the teams are looking to take away any of this real estate. Titans in particular is going to be the challenge for Darkness.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of a challenge. But now Lag also getting themselves into a bit of a challenge here. Going toe-to-toe with Myth. And it's going to be A9Q to get traded. Not confirmed up just yet. But they are down 1-9. Now perched in the window. Looking for a bit of an opportunity. But Myth also playing a little bit of a separated position here. Up comes Ramsey looking to bring in that extra little bit of fortification. It's going to be a 3v4 altercation here. But again, right, the sooner you can get yourself established up in towards Chopsticks, the more opportunities become available, as there are still a few teams looking for a bit of a rotational pathway. 1 million, though, not going to be settling in just yet. Instead, they are going to be looking to just get those reses through. Lazy Boy, of course, now doing their due diligence out on the edge, looking to see if they can maybe spot the angle here of one round.
Okay, I'll take a look at this one round. Of course, trying to rotate on up, get their numbers back up to where they need to be. Meanwhile, 1 million just looking for those flanking positions. We can see them currently running quite a nice little bit of a spread here. Chico, oh, so low, and just right next to them, of course, Escanor is, well, on the red. Hopefully beginning to be able to get their meds back up to scratch. 1 million up. just applying some pressure here, holding the line. Chico and Esconor having to run out in the open. Thankfully, the smokes pop inside, but oh, it's not going to
Ooh.
stop the bullets from raining on through.
Yeah, that's a beautiful push coming through right there from 1 million. Now Escanor having to try and quickly patch that one up, but it is going to be Marshall and the rest of the team now focusing their efforts on that vehicle, just dealing even more damage. But again, that could also then provide a little bit of a saving grace for one round, right? As we know, those popped vehicles actually providing a nice little bit of a hard cover, but it's still up to the rest of the team. As we can see, Eflex and Chico trying to find a bit of an approach to play. Up comes the rush. Escanor now getting dealt such a tough hand. As you can see, Knight still off in the distance, while the rest of the team now gets absolutely obliterated. And one round having a very tough time right here, right? Can't find a good play to make just yet. But instead now, they are going to be opting for a little bit more of that southern rotation. Just in disengaging from that entire situation. And now looking for a little bit of a more safe position towards that southern edge.
Yeah, I like that. Don't give 1 million the opportunity to contain you out in the blue zone. I mean, it's tough enough dealing with 1 million, applying just lead after lead after lead into your shields, but now you have to deal with the blue zone as well. Nah, not worth it. But one round, because of the earlier rotation and with the way that the zone is shifted towards the south, they will have a little bit of a faster approach into that zone. We'll have to see how they're going to deal with it. Of course, we know Mad Knights and Darkness here holding quite a bit of an interesting opportunity. They currently have Soul Esports sandwiched, but Wave Esports moving in just behind Titans. Could be looking for a little bit of a grudge match here. We'll see how they're going to work with this action.
Well, Wave, they've been looking pretty consistent so far, right? But now, as they run out in the open up against the Titans, we can see those shots now just lining through. It is going to be Wave quickly again, trying to patch themselves up. But Zakaria then also falls. Teague, Axa, and Buncher still going to be proving to be quite the formidable force to be reckoned with. And now Wave experiencing that firsthand. We do see the players there from Seoul a little bit further away, but they are not close enough to get involved in this. And see, oh, the sprays come through. Teak now looking to lock in those eliminations. Titans only sitting on one so far. But as we know, that doesn't mean anything for Titans. At any point in time, they can just decide to let it rip and, well, cause quite a dent in the lobby.
My only question is how Legends of War and 1 million are going to be affecting these two teams as they're moving in from the western portion. 1 million already up to 5 eliminations. They are really stepping on the gas. And of course, they've just moved in right alongside Legends of War with a good point of angle here on to not only Titans, but maybe they can reach across a little bit further towards Legends of War. We'll have to take a look and see what's going to happen here. In the meanwhile, while Blackjack and One Round, they look for the answers. Of course, both of these teams, unfortunately for them, running with the 2-2. So this is going to be as equal of a footing as both can find themselves. Let's just see how it will pan out.
Well, let's see if it's going to be on the cards, though, right? It is going to be Phonics now trying to cook up that nade, trying to reach across. MG also just staying nice and quiet up in the attic, but a very centralized position indeed. Again, as we know, it could be a heavily contested position, but not the easiest rotational options lie ahead for them. Shoot that zone, decide to take a little bit of an extreme shift, right? But now, all you're going to do is just hunker down and wait to see how this one plays out. Soul also going to be on a slow, steady position towards that northern side. We got Darkness also not too far away. So wherever this next phase goes, it is going to be applying a lot of pressure to our teams. Now, Slime 4KT experiencing that firsthand as they start to go toe-to-toe here with Virtual Gaming. But Virtual also still trying to lock in those rotations. We can see Zeus now just moving in. Oh, but gets greeted nearly instantly as Koa steps up. And with that, gets a back-to-back knock. All the pressure now turning on towards Gaddafi. But Koa trying to cook up that nade. Up comes the third-party angle as Alpha Luigi starts pushing in as well. Could this be the play for them still to make a bit of a difference? But now Gaddafi is down. It's now all riding on Alpha Luigi. Trying to close it up. Pronto right there in front of him. The shots connect on up. And that is going to be the end of the road for Virtual Gaming Squad.
Oh, just Slime 4KT so good with those trades. They had the pressure with that 2-on-4 situation, but that immediate double spray down there from Koa was what really put them forward for the win. But now let's take a look at this. Lag and Myth holding quite a bit of an interesting angle. We know that zone shifted towards that eastern portion, means they're outside in the zone. They need to finish this up. They need to rotate on in. But of course, we know so many teams out in the vicinity. I mean, you've got Desert Flame, you've got Slime 4KT now that have a line of sight straight onto these two teams. And as you can see, already applying the pressure, causing a little bit of concern here for both sides. Because as soon as they try and make a dash into the zone, well, guess what? You're out in the open. You've got a crosshair planted right on your face.
Yeah, and that is the worst place to have it. Of course, it is going to be Ramsey now trying to put the pressure on, finding those angles right on towards Koa. But let's see where they're going to be going, right? That blue zone is going to be forcing their hand. Lag still positioned up ahead of Myth, so they have to be really, really clever as to how they get themselves through this one. Slime really taking that opportunity to patch themselves up. But that is going to be the opening for Myth now to look to get themselves moved in. But Farouk is going to fall as Plaza will not be allowing too much of that to happen.
It's not going to stop anytime soon. As we know, these teams, they're fighting for positions here. Myth making a dash up the hilltop, trying to get the reses coming on through, but it's not going to happen here. So many helping hands to just guide them back into the lobby. In the meanwhile, it's Lag up next, trying to make the dash into safety. And as we know, it's going to be quite a bit of an awkward one, as Plaza is applying so much pressure. But at least in Lag's case, they have quite a few vehicles to work with. Yep. What happened there, guys? What's going on here? Bumper cars? It's not the time.
No, they're working with the vehicles, just as you said it, right? They heard you, and that's exactly what they're doing right there. But of course, still a little bit of ground to cover as they are moving towards that northern edge of zone. But meanwhile, towards the western side is still going to be the players here from Titan Gaming and Wave going toe-to-toe. Looking to see who can get this position under lockdown. Desert Flame also right there alongside them. But Desert Flame moving a little bit closer towards where we see Lag currently situated. Let's see now, is this going to be Titans to apply all the pressure they can find? Or could there be a bit of an opening now for Wave to get themselves out? Oh, it's going to be Ivar to lock in that hit. And now they need to just turn a haste to this whole position as P6 moves in, trying to quickly just bring their player back into contention. But all the pressure now riding on Zakaria. Will he be able to keep up the contention? Yo, they get the hit, but up comes the shots. And down they go. Wave Esports getting taken out blue zone, dealing an absolutely deadly blow to them.
Zakaria out literally in the air, getting taken out by none other than the blue zone. But at least picking up some eliminations in the process as Titans get sent back into the lobby, so the confirmations will be there. The distraction was just good enough. Now it's Lag up next to apply the pressure here towards Desert Flame Esports, who are also spread out. But at least the helping hand from Slime 4KT is going to allow them, hopefully, that time and pressure to move on in.
Yeah, but of course we see DWAS now, Buden rather, locking in that position relatively close to zone, just trying to get a bit of an anchor point to play from. But now Lag not finding a good approach. Instead, they are getting pinched slightly by not only the players here from Desert Flame, but adding Slime 4KT into the mix. Up comes a quick push as Plaza flies on forward. Tries to dance around the tree, finds the first knock. Lazy Boy, the next one up for a shave. Let's see, are they going to be able to find the shots? Putting quite a bit of damage up into Plaza. Down they go. And now it's up to the rest of Slime 4KT looking to close it up. Koa and Pronto, the final two contenders, but they are going to be taking aim over on towards Desert Flame as well as Flacco then falls. Down goes Lag. An absolutely beautiful sweep coming through here from Slime 4KT.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Because our top 8 teams, their work is not done whatsoever. We can even see Koa just taking a nice little bit of a dash, showing off those muscles, picking up Plaza, and trying to get them into a better position. One round of the meanwhile, still somehow, one way or another, still alive. But MG looking to change up that plan, taking quite a few bullets through the smoke, trying to get the connection. But of course, we know 1 million going to be applying the pressure that they can't really invest into going for this confirmation just yet.
Yep, and that is going to be the end of the road right then and there as MG gets taken down by a beautiful nade coming through there from Venom. It's going to be Arab Golden to follow suit as well, getting sent out there in 8th position now as we move down to our final 6 teams. We get to see what a challenging position they have to play with. Seoul Esports looking pretty comfortable in that smack dab center zone. But now it's going to be Slime and Desert Flame pushing in from those northern positions, looking for a bit of an opening to create. We got Mad Knight also still having to cover quite a bit of ground. But Six God now taking aim towards Pronto. Tries to capitalize on Pronto being up in that vehicle. A little bit of a cheeky spray, but that's not going to be enough as the blue zone now lends quite a bit of a helping hand here. And with that, it is going to be Desert Flame down to 3 potentially.
Of course, the trouble here is 1 million. I mean, they got 10 eliminations, and you can see why all 4 players in the highest damage dealers as Slime 4KT unfortunately do get sent out. They were second best with 3 players up in our top damage dealers, but of course, it's not going to end just here. 1 million moving in from that southwestern position in the vehicles, trying to get themselves situated. Of course, it is Seoul Esports and Mad Knight that are applying the pressure. We've got 3 teams with all 4 of their players still in contention for this final zone.
Yeah, and it's 3 quite big teams. I mean, well, all 4 teams we have left here are still some very formidable teams to go up against. It is going to be 1 million now looking to lock down that western edge as the zone has moved into that valley of doom in between all our teams. Lazy Boy, of course, will get traded as Kingerman finds a phenomenal angle on towards them. But there's a Flame looking to get themselves set up a little bit further towards that northern edge, looking again to play the little bit more of an elevated position. Kingerman not going to be backing off of anything just yet. Finds yet another knock. Gets that re-knock going. But could this be the opportunity now for Mad Knight to create that opening and lock in even more points?
They definitely would love to take this one, as we know. They are in the pressure cooker trying to get themselves moved up on the grand standings as much as they possibly can. But Seoul Esports, I'm loving the position that they're holding. That zone shift is really going to give them a great opportunity. They just need to be able to deal with both Desert Flame and Mad Knight as their neighbors that might be applying the pressure. As we can see, Desert Flame, the first to step up and instantly finding Hemo. My goodness, I mean, look about that HP. Hemo down to literally 1.
Yeah, but still, right, Hemo managing to stay alive. So that's going to bring quite a bit of continuation over on towards Seoul. But you can see Rauf already on the slight sneaky approach there, trying to just improve the angles that they've got. But there's a Flame still trying to find a bit of a position to play it, right? Not yet secured within the zone. And this could be the opportunity for Seoul to get themselves set up on that gatekeep and just lock it down. Buren now taking a little bit of damage. Rauf will get traded as 1 million rather reaches in, but it is absolute carnage as Desert Flame and Seoul go toe-to-toe. Well, both teams looking for a bit of an opportunity here, but DWAS now laying in their heads as Flacco comes through with the Tommy gun, gets the knock right up onto his White. But let's see, will it be on the cards for Hemo and Omar? Up comes the breach. Down they go. Buren gets traded. Now it's up to Hemo and Omar. Will they be able to keep up the defenses? Oh, a little bit of a cheeky strafe comes through. Flacco falls. And now DWAS so low on their health bar. Soul steps in and they close it out. Hemo getting a beautiful wipe right then and there.
Again, but they've only dealt with one more team. We saw Mad Knight and 1 million looking for the opportunity to jump in and do just the same as 1 million moves on into Mad Knight territory. Kingerman going to be doing well to find Lazy Boy, at least puts them on even footings. But of course, the reses will come through. And Mad Knight's taking this opportunity to just send in a few more welcoming nades.
Oh, but there we go. It's going to be Beast to fall, and off they go back into that lobby. 1 million already sitting on 12 eliminations to their name, as we just saw. Soul now sitting pretty on 9. Are they going to be able to lock it in, though? I mean, they are down to only 2 remaining hopefuls. Venom and the rest here of 1 million are going to be looking to find a bit of an opportunity. Senke, Marshall also steadily improving their position, but still quite a bit of ground to cover. And this is now the position for Seoul Esports to try and lock it down. They have the controlling angles up in towards the zone spot. Sengate down they go. Now Marshall, Venom having to try and piece this play back together. Hemo receiving quite a bit of pressure. And Omar still having an absolutely glorious vantage point. A little bit of that sneak element. But it does seem like Omar is keeping their eyes absolutely glued onto the positions of Mad Knight. This could definitely be Seoul Esports' game to win.
Yeah, the zone is favoring them. They have the hard cover. They have the ridge line. They have all of the line of sights on both of these teams moving up to their position. It's just about finding those opportunities. And one on towards Kingerman is not going to be slept on. Now 1 million trying to take advantage of the chaos to move on closer.
Yeah, but it's still going to be a very contentious position. I mean, Seoul, they've got it under lockdown. 1 million, Mad Knight having to cover quite a bit of ground here, but up comes the push. Oh, great plays coming through here. Hemo trying to get the secured hit. Off it goes. Marshall, Senke, the final 2 remaining contenders. Now the nades are going to be sent up as well. But Tyson could still deal quite a bit of devastation on towards 1 million, but it's not going to be happening. As you can see, the confirmation comes through, and that is down to the final 2. It is 1 million, and Seoul Esports are getting ready to fight it out. The nades still raining down as Omar tries for a quick reposition, but Hemo keeping a very steady angle. Oh, the utilities flying all over the place. If only Soul had some utilities to send up in response. You can see Omar sending a few of those out. Oh, could that be the one? It's so close. No, it's not going to land. Oh, there we go. Hemo now being forced off of the reach. It's going to be Senke, Marshall, slow, steady angles. Trying to hold the positions here. Finds a bit of damage on towards Hemo. This could be that opening that 1 million then needs to push forward and steal that victory away. Ooh. Omar also now just getting dealt even more damage. Hemo now having to patch it up. And at this point, as you can see, Senke about to send out their last bit of utility. That is done. Oh, but it finds Omar now trying to push on forward. It all turns to Hemo, who gets spotted out. Turns into a 1v2 play. Marshall now moving up. Oh, here we go. DBS for the win. Is it going to work, though? No, it is going to be 1 million locking in that winner with a chicken dinner and swiftly dealing with Seoul Esports. Doing so with 16 eliminations to their name.
Yeah, they decided that being only 1 point away from having Virtual Gaming taking their top seed in this week was not good enough. So they just decided to smack, you know, a good couple of 31 points right on top of that. So moving on into this one, 1 million already starting our first Erangel off with an absolutely spicy finish. But it's not going to be ending there. As we know, we still got 2 more Erangels for the day. And of course, as we move into the next match, hopefully the teams will be slowing things down, or not really. I love that action that they brought on Erangel. I mean, it was so good, and 1 million, I just have to remind you, they had to fight for that position. They had to push up in a very awkward angle up to Seoul Esports, and just the timing, you could see they were so focused. As soon as there was even a slight bit of inclination that Seoul Esports were focusing just on the wrong angle, looking at another team, or just doing anything that gave them an opening, they were there to take it.
But it just shows to the level of comfort that 1 million has, right? Regardless of what the situation is, they are able to cope with it. And of course, now let's take a look at those rankings. 1 million gracing us with a 30 bomb here once again. Seoul Esports, though, very close, locking in those 10 eliminations, sitting on a grand total of 22 points to the name. Slime4KT also keeping the pressure up, locking in 9 eliminations to award themselves 15 points in total. With Mad Knight, Desert Flames also looking to bring it in. But I mean, this is a very satisfying performance coming through from Mad Knight, right? They need to now just build this momentum moving forward.
Yeah, no, keep moving, keep pushing, and I like to see this coming through from, you know, the teams, as we mentioned. Mad Knight, one of the teams I was, well, staring at in that entire game, hoping that they were going to make this something that was really going to bolster their standing. So hopefully this continues, and we see them just keep that consistency, because then they could be finding themselves in the top 16. We could be seeing them back next week for the finals, but that's all going to be up to them, and of course the rest of the teams, how these performances will be going. As we move on to the next stage, we know we ended this one off with quite a bit of a top-heavy standing. You know, finished off with 4 points, started with 31. So let's take a look at how that next page is looking. Of course, no surprise. You know, it's slim pickings on this side. Everyone else on the first page was a little bit too greedy.
Yeah, everyone else on the first page, they took pretty much everything else, right? As you can see, there's only 3 eliminations on this side of the page, right? It's only 3. Wave picking up 1, Virtual Gaming Squad with 1, and Legends of War also then with the other elimination. So that really speaks volumes rather as to the kind of approach that these teams are bringing in to this day's performances, right? Already, first map concluded, done and dusted. Now, next up, we are going to be moving towards the next one. But before we do, let's take a look at a few of the highlights from this past match, just to remind ourselves of the insanity we had unfolding. And of course, 1 million really sticking it to one round as well.
Yeah, no, it started off with that one-on-one action. It didn't stop there. We obviously had so many teams pushing for that contention. Slime4KT was on a little bit of a tear of their own. Even at this point, they were already picking up 7 eliminations. We know how that ended up, but just great performances coming through from the team of Slime4KT. Desert Flame even picking up quite a lovely number of points. But oh, this final finish here with Seoul Esports holding their ground against Desert Flame was ridiculous. And we can see here, the moment Hemo tries to go for anything with Mad Knight, well, who's there? It's Senke, it's Marshall from 1 million to push up to just apply the pressure. And this is why we could see them finishing it off with the win with a chicken dinner.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've got it, you've got it, right? And 1 million just looking to capitalize on their positions even more so. So very, very exciting sort of events coming through on our very first match of the day. But let's now take a look and see how that then impacts our overall standings. Of course, 1 million now just locking in that pole position even more so. Now sitting on 197 points.
Yeah, getting closer and closer to the 200 club for this week. But again, what I'm loving to see is the fact that we're seeing such a healthy spread of points. Yes, 1 million is building that gap between themselves and second place, but that gap was also there, 2 days ago, and then it closed on up, and now, well, we'll see what the rest of the day is going to be looking like. Soul Esports, very, very close to Virtual Gaming. And as we start moving, there's still a lot of room for, well, shifts to come on through in the top, 8, as we know, but even if we take a look at the second page, I mean, we finished this first page off with Desert Flame, making a lovely, lovely shift up into 8th place, all the way from 9th, so already picking up a fantastic set of points. But as we know, 99, as that translates into the second page, we can actually see how close and contentious it is looking for these teams.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit of a shuffle, right? That we've had the teams really trying to bring in the work that they need to do. But of course, we see Team Myth, right? They were sitting on that first page, and now they've got moved down over towards the second. And that is just the way the cookie crumbles. That is just the way it works. But that is still nothing to scoff at, right? These teams still have quite a few opportunities for the remainder of the day, looking to patch it up. But I'm curious to see what's going to come through still from these players here from Darkness, right? We've been seeing them really bring in quite a bit of effort. This game around, yes, it was the first one of the day, trying to get a few of those nerves out of the way. But from here on moving forward, I'm expecting the teams to just push and elevate the strategy that we've been seeing them already utilizing in the past day, continuing that trend further in towards today as well.
Yeah, and of course, they're all going to have some great opportunities over towards Erangel. But let's take a look at those final 4 teams who are still fighting tooth and nail. And Mad Knights actually currently tied up there with zero tolerance at 60 points apiece. So it's not going to be a far jump for them to actually pick up a really, really good set of points. And that's all from their performance on that first Erangel. So again, hoping this keeps up. Hoping that we're going to see that consistency moving in from them today and tomorrow. Because then again, we're thinking about those grand totals. We're thinking about who is going to be joining us for the next week. But Super Young Stars, TEAMLAG, Blackjack, pressure's not over for them either. And again, we've seen moments from all of these teams, one way or another, either, with Lag picking up some ridiculous eliminations yesterday, or Super Young Stars bringing in that consistent performance and placement. Blackjack even taking a bit of a hit against some of the big dogs and really doing well to manage expectations. So again, all of these teams, they deserve the love. They deserve this opportunity. It's just going to be about who's going to be, the teams to be the lucky ones or be the ones that work the hardest over the last couple of weeks.
I mean, they've all been working extremely hard, right? If we look at the performances that we've been having across the board, I think it's more a case of who's the teams that just had, things working out a little bit more in their favor. Of course, now speaking about that, we are going to be taking a quick look at our schedule just to remind everyone as to who's going to be not playing in the second game, right? We did, of course, have Group ABCD playing in the match 1. Match 2, we are going to be having Group ABCE playing with D sitting this one out and E joining us for their very first match of the day.
Oh, it is going to be spicy. As we know, moving on to Miramar next, so a little bit of more space to work with for the teams, maybe an opportunity for the teams to slow things down, at least in the beginning portions, but moving on into yesterday's Miramars, we know the energies were high. We know the teams were moving in for those eliminations. So I don't expect that to be changing anytime soon. But we'll have to wait and see what strategies the teams are going to be employing today. As we know, the days are starting to get closer and closer to the finals. So the pressure's really on for these teams, and that does have an effect on your your gameplay, your play style, your mental attitude as you move on in. Mistakes start to hit a little bit harder, but also momentum starts to build even more. So hopefully the teams will be focusing on the positive of that sentence and just bringing in the good stuff, bringing in the vibes, and just taking it through all the way.
Well, that would be the ideal, right? So all we can do is wait to see what the teams will have in store for us. Of course, we are prepping up the plane to move on through. And of course, well, let's jump straight in to see what the teams will have to work with as we are making our approach down on towards the lovely Miramar. You can see La Cobreriano Aces over on towards that, center and left-hand side. And of course, the Crater Fields towards the right. But here we go. The zone is going to be pulling, or rather the flight path is going to be pulling all the way across towards Impala. So a slightly more northern flight path. it is going to limit a little bit of the approach down towards Chumacera, Valdelmar, those kind of positionings towards that more southern edge. So Titans definitely going to be having to go for a little bit of an alternate position, but already we can see them making that early jump right there towards the trailer park. So curious to see what the rest of the teams are going to be doing, and then essentially where that first initial zone is going to be forming.
Yeah, they're looking to get their boots on the ground as soon as possible. So some of the teams that really do love that southern portion of Miramar are going to have to get, well, a vehicle running if they still want to go that way, or maybe use one of those alternate drop sites. As you can see, Zero Tolerance moving in a little bit closer towards the northern point. Not this time going to Oasis, potentially, by the looks of it. But other than that, we are seeing darkness there towards Impala. We're still seeing teams moving on to Los Leones. So taking a look there, of course, at Legends of War, Mad Knights making a little bit more of a southwestern approach. But as we know, a lot is at stake here for these teams. And hey,
Ooh.
the zone is actually
Hey,
going
hey,
to
hey.
be taking a little bit of that pressure away.
I love it. All right. This is going to be quite an exciting one. Curious to see where exactly it's going to move towards. I mean, the entirety of Los Leones almost not being an option for the teams here. Even Picado, which is always a relatively safe option to go for. We can see this time around being situated on the very edge of that zone. So Mad Knight will definitely have to try and bring in a bit of an exciting rotation to get themselves resituated. But again, looking at center zone, it's going to be a great start, especially for Soul, even Team Myth and Wave, because, they don't have to move all too much.
No, all too much, not whatsoever. But we'll take a look and see how the teams are going to react to this zone. Again, for the teams that really like that southern points, maybe they might want to really alt for, well, just getting themselves in zone quicker rather than later. I mean, already Titans, we're seeing them changing up their positioning here, moving into, one that we haven't seen them use in quite a bit of a while here. We're so used to seeing them there towards Minas del Sur or Los Leigos. And, well, this is where they started. Back in week 1.
Wow. You know what? Well, sometimes you just need to go back to basics, right? And,
3 OG
Titans.
strats.
Yes. Titans not being able to reach to their normal kind of a starting position. So, nothing wrong with a little bit of a route play. But 1 million, they're going to be going and sticking to their guns as we can see them going about their business up in towards the lovely Pozo here. But again, a few options lie ahead for how teams are going to be looking to rotate in. I'm curious to see if 1 million is going to take a potential northern rotation, because we do know that there's a bit of an opening there. Or are they going to try and maybe go for a little bit more of a southern approach, right? Either which way, it's going to be a very difficult one, because if they go north, Slime 4KT is there. If they go towards the south, there's several teams there. So, they have to play that one as informed as they can, and as we know, they don't see what we see.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't have the information we get to work with. So, I mean, taking a look at this, DK, where are some of the positions you would normally really favor within a zone like this?
In a zone like this, I do think Cruz del Val could definitely be a good option to move in towards. I mean, definitely not a permanent position, but a good temporary position, especially for a team like Super Young Stars that we can see already occupying that space, right? But then another option could potentially be towards maybe God or even Minas Generales, right? Because there's a lot of reach that you can still find from those angles. You have those really crazy elevations that you can get yourself positioned in towards, and that opens up even more avenues from that point moving forward.
Okay, I like it. We'll take a look and see which teams are going to be bringing in that approach and how they're going to be making use of that. Because maybe you can take a hint or two from them, or maybe you could be the coach. Who knows?
No,
I'm kidding. No such coaching things allowed. No. That's why we leave it up to the players, because
yes,
that's why we're casters. I'm not going to say why, but you know why. You kind of get the idea.
because I've got two left thumbs. That's why.
I just run into trees, man. Like watching me play PUBG Mobile, it's rough. It's rough.
The trees run into you.
No. I run into the trees. Not because I don't see them, just purely because I'm that bad.
Oh, okay.
Me trying to get into doors as well. It's a question. Sometimes good, sometimes not so much. We'll take a look and see. Well, no, we'll never take a look and see at that gameplay, but we are taking a look at seeing how Slime 4KT are currently holding their position. So very, very spread up. I mean, we've got one towards water treatment, we've got Pronto in between creative fields and water treatment, we've got Storm in creative fields, we've got Plaza in La Crobe area. So they are the most spread out if you take a look at any of the other teams. You know, obviously some running a little bit of a 2-1-1-1 split like Super Young Stars, but not as spread out as what we see Slime 4KT.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach coming through from Slime. But I do think there's probably some purpose in that for them, right? It allows them to gather quite a bit of information, especially looking at the rotational position they're moving towards. I can understand it, right? Because they are not really contested at for the time being, of course, rotating up in towards that water treatment position. I think over on the western side of the zone, that could also be a little bit of a favorable angle to be holding, but we are going to be seeing quite a bit of contention coming through in towards Impala now, right? Virtual Gaming only having at least one player that we can see currently positioned in towards Impala here, and that, of course, is Alpha Luigi. But the rest of the team, they are all the way down towards that Puerto region, right? So still, Alpha Luigi now also just gathering the information, relaying that through towards the team, but doesn't seem like Darkness are going to be full on committing to staying in Impala.
Yeah, but it's also not looking like Virtual Gaming are immediately, you know, jumping into the vehicle. So Alpha Luigi hasn't given that call that, like, listen, I need some backup right now. You know, I need the cavalry to join up immediately. Their plan going forward is just to chill out. It does look like Iron might have spotted them sooner rather than later. So if something does go crazy here, hopefully the rest of the team will be jumping, you know, into the backup. We can see the rest of Darkness up a little bit more towards the northern portion of Impala in the vehicles, moving on out. Not immediately jumping out of the situation, but much further than what Iron or Alpha Luigi would like. You can see a little bit of a return now, so it's going to be tough. I wouldn't want Alpha Luigi to jump into this just yet until they know their team is here and they've got the backup should it need to come to that.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out, but it is going to be Alpha Luigi now trying to make a bit of a stance here. Unfortunately, not finding the most opportune angles to play from, and the rest of the squad still going to be rotating through. So that is quite the risky play to be had by Alpha Luigi. But as we know, Gaddafi hot on their heels, Zeus also about to join in there. So maybe with even more numbers, they could look to make quite a bit of an impact then. But Blackjack, they're going to be enjoying the peace and tranquility up into towards Los Leones, right? Just flying off of rooftops, driving in between the buildings, looking for a bit of a rotational play to be had. But again, it could be smooth sailing depending on which way they choose to move.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, the teams, they don't have the information we do running on and around. But hopefully they will make it work. Hopefully they will have an opportunity to bring in the action that they are planning to. So my question is, okay, BST, Titans especially moving on in for that northwestern region. We'll see if Slime 4KT are going to be giving them the space, while Mort is unfortunately just, you know, trying to dodge and weave the bullets. But, you know, when you're knocked in on the ground, you don't really have that mobility.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, right? Your hands are slightly tied, but they are going to be having to deal with that zone now, centering up even more towards 1 million and in towards that graveyard territory. That is where things are going to get quite exciting. Because we know Junkyard is where we see the players from Seoul currently just having their own occupation. But I'm loving the positions being had here by Myth as well as Triple Esports. All very contentious right there up in the mix. And this is where we are going to be having a little bit of that third-party play now starting to come on through as well.
Oh, some good opportunities here. And we know the question on all of our minds, what's Triple doing over there with Myth? Hello, what's happening? But the question on all of our minds is the energy and the pacing that they're going to be bringing into Miramar, because as we know, it's a very Erangel heavy day. So this is the first and last Miramar that we're going to be seeing. So the teams who really do place, you know, all of their eggs into the Miramar basket, what are they going to be bringing to the table? How are they going to be making use of this? Are we still going to be seeing that same pacing that we see on Erangel? Are we going to be seeing the teams trying to force the pace down, or, well, is it just going to be so chaotic that they have no choice but to keep up?
Well, I'm honestly hoping for a few omelets, right? But it is going to be the beast running into a little bit of an issue here as Blackjack move in from the edge, trying to get a bit of that looting going towards the drop. But we can see Farok also just there, actually at the drop itself. So this could be quite the vantage point now. But Farok potentially getting a nice little bit of an upgrade there with the loot. I'm not quite sure why Beast decided to venture out all the way to here. The rest of the team still on the opposite end of the crater. So that was quite the risky move to make.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you gotta try things out. Sometimes it just doesn't work. It's a 50-50 at the end of the day. But hey, we still have 16 teams all up, and Adam, Goa as well, gonna be getting those meds moving on in. So everyone else is looking pretty good. It's just about keeping the numbers as we move into, you know, the next phase. Again, still a lot of space within this next zone. Teams shouldn't be, you know, fighting shoulder to shoulder to try and take positioning. But as we know, rotations always lead to a little bit of an altercation or two as the teams make their decisions on where to go. They don't know where all the teams are situated, and sometimes they could be traveling right alongside each other, and just at that last turn, well, boom, good luck. You have to immediately jump into a bit of a fight.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Miramar. But Slime, as we can see, gathering quite a bit of information now, trying to make the necessary decisions. It is going to be Plaza instead, trying to patch themselves back up again. But it's only Slime and Lag towards the northern side, right? So they can actually afford to just sit there and stare at each other, right? Admire the view, enjoy the scenery. But once that next phase comes through, that is where the pressure is going to come in. But, you know, further down towards the southern edge, it's not the same kind of tranquility that we have. We have the players here from Seoul and Virtual Gaming. As we now look onto that map, we can see then also quite a congested position being held. But again, it's all going to come down to what this next zone shift is going to be bringing through, and where the teams then will have to rotate towards. But I'm loving that we see Titans taking that a little bit more of a southern approach, right? Trying to just get themselves in some form of security in anticipation of this next shift. And now it opens up a little bit of a position, right? They can move in, coming in towards Graveyard, but VST also in quite an amazing position on those ridge lines.
Yeah, I do like it, but of course we know they just have to move a little bit forward. It's a bird was trying to scout out a few better compounds, but unfortunately met the wrong end of 1 million. You know, Marshall and Lazy Boy, never so welcoming with their barrels. But we'll take a look and see what the rest of VST have planned up their sleeves as they move in just a tad on those ridge lines in towards San Martin. They're in the zone, so they have some good opportunity. And again, like you mentioned, great line of sight onto the teams rotating on in. We'll just have to wait and see who is going to be joining them towards that western point. But of course, towards the east, whew, DK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams rotating onto the east. And we know that there are already 5 teams holding all of those edge lines.
Yes, this is where we are going to be seeing quite a bit of chaos now starting to come on in. Lag and of course the players here from Seoul still in very close proximity to each other. And Fantasy now trying to move up. Not quite sure if they're going to be able to reach all the way to Weiss. It is quite a bit of distance. Instead, Hammer right there on the front line, getting ready to make a bit of a play. Oh, Fantasy can hear the footsteps, not being able to reach all the way across. Instead, sends out an absolute barrage of utility. But Hemo now looking to cook up that nade. Oh, is this going to be on the money? Oh, finds quite a bit of damage on towards Cacao. And now they have to make a decision, right? Hemo going to be sending out just yet another nade, looking to follow up. But up comes Darkness now also applying their own pressure on towards Blackjack. So you can see Reverb and MG quickly patching themselves back together before yet another nade now gets sent across. That could be the end of Reverb. Oh, managing to evade that. But Zazal just waiting steadily as MG now takes an absolute plethora of damage.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Phonics now to get involved, as they know. Well, as we can see, they're still trying to rotate on in, but of course, Legends of War not too far off, so not sure what kind of line of sight they'll be able to use to just sneak on up and back up their teammates, MG and Reverb. For the time being, all the pressure is going to be on them to get themselves out of the situation, and then, well, they need to deal with Legends of War almost immediately. So we'll see how they deal with this one. As we can see, Darkness now, they've taken the trigger. They want these eliminations.
But are they going to be able to pull it off, though? I mean, this is where they still need to keep their cool. And MG now feeling a little bit of that pressure come in, as we know, right? Legends of War on the opposite end, but MG finds the first, and down they then go. As we see Iron rushing on forward, but Zazal also getting traded. Iron now just also trying to evade the damage. Oh, but finds the head onto Reverb. All now turning onto Phonics. the final contender left for the side of Blackjack, but could they steal this one away? Not a lot of health left on the opposite end, and this could be that saving grace. But is it going to be the play, though? Phoenix just keeping a little bit of distance. Legends of War are going to come in swinging, right? Looking to capitalize on these third-party opportunities, pushing in as aggressively as they can find it. But again, still trying to keep a little bit of caution. Powerboy is going to get taken on down. And that changes up the approach now for Legends of War.
Unfortunately for Phonics, just getting into the situation, just getting here to their teammates and then getting themselves confirmed out by Darkness does mean that, well, they kind of ran here for nothing, but now they potentially have an opportunity to take out Darkness and maybe pick up 1 or 2 towards Legends of War, or they can just take a dash into the zone, as is, of course, shifted away from this position. You can see there on the minimap, they have to take a little bit of a dash, and it will be a tough one jumping into the vehicle. We'll have to see how much, what fuel there is left, but now Phonics up onto the chopping block here with Legends of War trying to peek around the vehicle, taking not I was gonna say taking not like a damage, but at least finding Flick.
Yeah, there's some great shooting coming through there from Phonics, but now will they be able to keep it up? Oh, yes, indeed. It is going to be that knock to come on through as we see the players there from Myth just sneaking in a cheeky third party. And with that, that alleviates quite a bit of pressure now for Phonics, at least on the front line, but still having to cross quite a bit of ground to get themselves back into contention. Cowboy is going to bleed out, and that's going to be the confirmation as Phonics steps in and locks it down. Mowing just positioned a little bit further ahead. But could this be that play now for Blackjack, right? To get themselves back into contention, reposition in towards the zone. Meanwhile, Farok is going to be looking to just bring their numbers back up as well. As we jump further towards the northern side, Wave Virtual Gaming getting ready for a little bit of an altercation here.
Virtual Gaming now trying to get their numbers back up, getting all the meds popped and getting themselves set and ready for this one, because it's going to be quite a bit of a tough fight. Moving up to this ridgeline, they not only have to take out Wave Esports, but they still have to get themselves in the zone. And it will be, well, sorry, they still have to get themselves at least just better situated in the zone, because we know a few more teams just around the vicinity. They want to make sure they've got some fantastic cover. Meanwhile, as we take a look at things just behind Wave, Slime 4KT, of course, nicely spread out once again. Extremely spread out, I mean, compared to the rest of the teams. So they've been keeping that theme moving into the rest of Miramar.
Yeah, I mean, that strategy has its pros and cons, right? It's great for keeping that separation, especially when moving into challenging play. But of course, as we can see, right, that spread is definitely not going to be the situation between Mad Knight and the players here from Triple Esports. Instead, the shots are going to be connecting on through as Myth reaches in once again with those third-party positions. But let's see whether or not Black 7 is going to be able to find the angle on towards Tyson. Wiskola takes quite a bit of damage. Down they go. Tyson getting picked up by that nade. And Black 7 now absolutely on fire, trying to pop that vehicle. Off it goes. Kingman narrowly escaping that one as well. But where are they going to go towards next, right? Definitely not having the easiest options, but up comes the push as Kimos now tries to find a bit of an opening. It's all turning down to Wiskola, the final contender, the final hopeful to keep the dreams alive, but the sprays come through. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath as Mad Knight then gets sent packing.
Ooh, things are heating up, and of course Triple Esports not out of the pressure cooker just yet, because we know Myth, they have all the information they need. They're holding such a gorgeous position within the zone. Again, it's Myth. Hello, we know Miramar, we know zones, we know how they like to do things. Now let's take a look and see how they will turn this into their favor. Triple Esports, of course, one of their joining neighbors in the zone, but still having to fight for their position. The rest of the teams, of course, moving in from all the other positions. They're going to have quite a bit of a tough time as Myth just keep on applying the pressure, saying, hey, there's a bit of an entrance fee if you want to get into the zone.
Yeah, I mean, they put the rate pretty high, right? That it costs you a player to get yourself closer to the zone. Yeah, who knows? And also then, we do see the players here from Soul and Virtual Gaming trying to light it up over on towards this northern edge, but Lag will bid their farewells as they get sent away now. Zeus trying to apply the pressure on towards Soul, but Virtual Gaming in a very challenging position, right? The only way to get into zone is to push forward, because if they move towards that western side, they're going to find Wave. If they move east, they are going to find Zero Tolerance, so they got to pick their poison, right? They got to choose how they want to get themselves in and then commit to that.
Oh, okay. So let's take a look at this. Titans, of course, now feeling a little bit of the pressure with 1 million, moving on into their territory. Koa, in the meantime, from Sanhok KT, finding VSC. And all of this is happening outside the zone. The teams haven't even stepped into safety. They are just still trying to fight for position, trying to fight for an opening to get themselves safely situated. One shot now taking a bit of a gamble as they move on in with such low HP, and Hemo, ooh, just trying to find that connection towards zero tolerance. And we can see this combination of teams. It is going to be so crazy to try and manage all of this.
Yeah, well, the team's throwing caution to the wind. Instead, they're going to be pushing straight on forward. They're running out of time, running out of space and options, and that is going to be Rauf to get traded on down, but Alfoluji now feeling the pressure come in as well. Slimefork team moving in just alongside them, and this is going to be an absolutely crazy showing. Virtual Gaming side by side alongside the players here from Seoul Esports. White's taking a little bit of damage there. Titan Gaming, though, will get eliminated as the zone swoops on forward. But let's see. Seoul, Virtual, getting ready to push it all the way to the finish. Will they be able to deal with these pressures coming in? Omar tries to find a bit of an opportunity, but not finding the most opportune angles instead. Going to be opting to grab that vehicle. Alfoluji in one shot, however, are going to be pushing on forward. Hemo still trying to keep the position up. Zeus gets spotted and traded. Down they go. Alfoluji quickly repaying them for the efforts. But now it is going to be the end of the road as Seoul gets taken down. Virtual Gaming looking to piece their play back together again. It's all now up to one shot and Gaddafi, but a one shot not out of the woods as the shots continue to rain down from Zeus and Skydo also right there alongside them.
Oh, a little bit of damage, a little bit of danger. One shot right alongside Skydo, but they of course don't necessarily know that just yet. In the meanwhile, they're just focusing on taking out Slimefork KT almost completely, as it's all down to the render of Koa and their HP bar as they try to get themselves meted up. Only bandages to work with, unfortunately, but same can be said for Virtual Gaming in particular. One shot and at least a few energy drinks, you know, popping those monsters, of course, we know. But now they still have to get themselves situated within the zone. 1 million in the meanwhile. They've moved up into that northern portion. Wave, well, they still have to fight tooth and nail. Triple Esports now out of position. Myth out of position. And everyone trying to make a dash in.
And the only team having that anchor point secured is going to be 1 million. So this is going to result in quite the fight out on the edge of zone. But Koa is going to get traded down as Gaddafi reaches in and wipes them out. Now, one shot taking aim onto Broly. Down they go. So Myth not having the most opportune angle. Not as great as they thought it was. But up comes Skydo quickly and swiftly dealing there with one shot. Down they are. It all now turns to Gaddafi to keep the hopes up still here for Virtual. But quick reactions coming in as Broly gets traded on down. Triple Esports and Myth getting ready to go toe to toe. Oh, Farok now having quite a bit of pressure on their shoulders. But M7 relieves them of that. And off they are. M7 and the rest of the players there from Myth getting sent back. Virtual Gaming also meeting a very abrupt end. But that also then follows suit with Skydo. We are down to only 3. Triple Esports moving in with a full squad, having the elevation to their advantage. But 1 million and Wave still trying to sneak in over towards this northern edge.
Alright, Rhino going to be announcing their presence with a little bit of a nade, saying boom, boom, boom. Hello, I am here, but not going to be reaching 1 million esports just yet, holding this northwest position. Triple Esports, what a threat they are going to be here, DK. Look at this control that they have of the zone, and they've got so many numbers. They can literally all have a single player focus every single one of their competitors and still have one more player just to back anyone and everyone up that needs it. But Kimos has to be careful, taking a bit of damage as they try and move closer to center.
Oh, yes. We're definitely seeing that triple threat being played out here. But let's see. Will Kimos find that position? Rhino focusing a lot of effort down on 1 million. But as we know, that only then draws quite a bit of attention to themselves. The blue zone is going to start moving on forward. And Venom still trying to pick up a few of those cheeky hits. Let's see. Could this be the play now? Rhino about to get spotted out. There we go. Quick reactions coming through from Venom. Not going to be backing off just yet, but that zone now just blessing the players here from Triple Esports, having full control of it, and all they can do is sit back and wait for the rest of the lobby to arrive. But they are going up against 1 million, and Rhino also still trying to stay alive, but they are then traded down as Venom picks up the final hit, and it is going to be 1 million and Triple Esports fighting to the finish, but Marshall gets down. Venom with a quick response on towards Chemo. Steven Reef also taking a little bit of damage there, but Venom, the final contender, standing between Triple Esports and the next winner chicken dinner for them.
I mean, look at the situation, right? We've seen 1 million deal with some pretty tough standings, but I mean, it's a 1-on-4. We've already got Black 7 moving on in for the elimination, jumping out of the vehicle. Venom now the blue zone 2, their backs into the 7th phase of the blue, jumping down. He's gonna find one, but bam, the HP is not there. It will be Triple Esports to pick up the winner chicken dinner, but 1 million, they put up one hell of a fight.
Yeah, they put up quite a bit of a contention right there. But of course, Triple Esports locking in that winner chicken dinner. 9 eliminations strong. And what a way to show it up, right? The only Miramar for the day. And it goes straight towards Triple Esports. Absolutely fantastic performance coming through there from them. But of course, as we know, right, it was a very tough Miramar. Very challenging positions for these teams to play on through. And of course, 1 million, right? The moment they were able to move into that little shack, they just stuck there and stood the test of time, right? Trying to survive as long as they can. But Triple Esports, they had a different idea in mind. And they moved in and secured themselves that winner chicken dinner.
It was good to see, and again, good to see a different set of names jumping to the top, picking up the winner chicken dinners, and once again, just pushing and pushing till the final moments. But of course, first and last Miramar done for the day. We've got 2 more Erangels, and then the beautiful Sanhok, so only green from here.
Yeah, only green indeed. Of course, with that, we got to give a big shout out to Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. But aside from Monster, also got to show quite a bit of love over on towards Oppo. So, Born to Win, welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much-loved Reno 7 series. Now, we did see an absolute insane helping of that gamer mode being engaged in this past Miramar. But of course, you know, we are then having to take a little bit of a play. Look to see how many points the teams brought in, where the whole situation went, and then how that changes up the whole approach. Of course, Triple Esports coming in with that glorious winner chicken dinner, those 9 eliminations, putting them on a grand total of 24 points. But 1 million managing to lock in 6 eliminations, securing themselves 18 points in total. But Virtual Gaming also landing those 6, coming in on 12 points in total then. But Team Myth, right, they weren't done just yet. Dealing is 7 eliminations to put themselves on a grand total of 11 points alongside Zero Tolerance.
And hey, look at all these double digits. Once again, this side of things, man, too greedy, taking everything, not leaving much for the rest of the teams. What's happening? Just such aggression. But it's good to see the teams finally just looking to take everything and anything away from their competitors. They want to be sure that they're going to be the ones reigning at the top. And Blackjack Esports in particular, I mean, again, just anything and everything is going to help them out at this point in the game. As we take a look at that second page, of course, we'll have to just see how, well, the standings are looking after such a top-heavy Miramar. Of course, we know, well, every single team have managed to pick up a point one way or another.
Yeah, and I mean, we still see quite a few eliminations coming through on this side as well, right? So Esports picking up their 3. We got Darkness coming through on 3 as well. But then TEAMLAG coming in with 2, right? But still, the points are there. As you said, everybody getting dealt a few points, even though it's not the amount of points that they were hoping for. But as we know, there's still quite a few opportunities left to go. All our teams now having played at least 1 map for the day. That then makes me think, right, what is next, right? Because as we know, we have the overall standings that the teams are playing towards, looking to bring in those necessary changes. But are the teams locking in enough points to bring in the necessary change they want to see?
That is going to be the question on all of our minds. As we know, the overall standings are constantly going to be shifting. And the grand total, well, that is a giant question mark. You know, I don't know how much the teams are, you know, doing math on the side and if they're keeping up with every single standing. But it is definitely getting tighter and tighter as the teams fight for their top 16 positions. It's going to be keeping me on the edge of my seat all the way till the end. But first Miramar of the day, And last, of course, as we know, still pretty active, still pretty aggressive, especially towards those later phases. And we can take a look at that, of course, as we move into our Oppo moments, just to remind ourselves of all the spicy action.
Yeah, I mean, the spice was dealt by the bucket loads, right? Of course, we did see Lag trying to bring in quite a bit of performance, and we did have that. But Myth, they were just playing that zone so phenomenally. And I mean, it wasn't really a surprise to see how things ended up. But again, right, the team's really rising to the occasion. This was also quite a bit of a challenge, but these elevated positions, right? We were talking about this while we were still on the plane, right? Saying that there could be quite a bit of a play to be had. And Myth, they just looked to capitalize on those positions, moved in, and just rained down terror. But this was also quite a bit of a challenge coming through for Virtual Gaming, as well as the players in from Seoul.
Yeah, it was a very, very good approach, either or, especially into those final phases. We know it was pretty tough for some of the teams with the terrain, with all of the work that they had to work with. So it's just good to see the teams just really managing to put on their best performance. But we know we have to go to a pretty short break as we all catch our breath and just remember what words in English is, for me at least. But we'll be right back after a short few moments.
Stalemate? No problem. Ultimate Arena decides the victor.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. We just concluded our second match of the day in which we saw the players there from Triple Esports stepping up and locking in a glorious winner chicken dinner. But of course now let's take a look and see how the performances have impacted our overall rank. It's 1 million still going to be holding on, but now hitting that 200 points, of course, sitting on 215 points to be exact. Virtual Gaming still coming in with a very contentious position, right? A few points behind them. And as we look down the board, right, we can see not a lot really changing, but Team Myth are now also just appearing back into this first page.
Ooh, some changes one way or another, but everyone joining the Triple Digit Club on this side of things. And Slime 4KT, of course, just pushing Desert Flame back into the second page, saying, listen, it's my spot. I want 8th. Thank you very much. But again, 1 million just really applying a fantastic gap between themselves and Virtual Gaming there on towards the second. As we said, we started the day off with only 1 point separating these two teams. And even if we take a look at the second page, we still see a fantastic opportunity for the teams, of course, moving on in. Desert Flame not having the opportunity to play that match, but they're going to be coming back and they're going to be showing their stuff alongside Triple Esports and a few others. But what I'm really liking to see is the way that we are still seeing a so close and contentious point in our top 12.
Yeah, it is still a very tough play. But even looking at just the top 16, right, there's not a lot really separating these teams, at least on the second page. I mean, 29 points, it sounds like a lot, but it's not that much, right? We've seen teams bring in even more than that. We've actually seen a team lock in 37 points in one particular match. So we know that it is a possibility. But of course, as we take a look at that last page, it's going to be the players from Mad Night, Lag, Super Young Stars and Blackjack still trying to bring in the necessary points to get themselves out of this particular page.
Yeah, it is going to be quite a bit of a tough push for these teams right up until the end, as we know, but at least for their sake, we know we're going to be moving into a double helping of Erangel, the bread and butter of PUBG Mobile, so maybe that will just ease things up for them as they move into their next respective matches. And we finished off with Sanhok, so it's going to be quite a spicy day.
Oh, speaking about spice, right, we are going to be pushing straight into Erangel, getting ready for that double dose, and here we are. What better way to do it than to move on forward? Of course, we're just waiting for everyone to lock themselves into their seats, look and see where that plane is going to be taking us, and of course, what that pilot will have in store for us. But of course, quite a bit of action, as it is going to be a back-to-back play. So without any further delay, let's move in and see what that is. Of course, the flight path is going to be starting towards that northwestern side, as we can see the lovely, lovely waterway down below. We've got ruins, Pachinki, everything to spread out in front of us. But of course, it is pulling all the way across towards that Sosnovka military island, all the way down towards the southeastern side.
Okay, so a good opportunity for teams to jump into the respective points. Of course, we can see, a few set of teams that aren't going to be joining us. Seoul Esports, Slime, and Legends of War alongside TEAMLAG will just be sitting the second Erangel out while they get ready and prepped for the next one. But some interesting points here. So again, a nice little bit of a diagonal shift does allow all of the teams, whether they're like south or north, to really jump into their best possible opportunities. Super Young Stars, of course, once again back to join us alongside Desert Flame. So going to be taking a look and seeing how they're going to be changing up. Again, two of the teams that I myself am keeping an eye out. Desert Flame in recent days have also just been showing such a great bout of consistency, already looking very good to find themselves in the top 12 at the end of this week.
Yeah, definitely an option. But of course, as we look on towards the zone, it's going to be quite an interesting one, as we have a very northern zone coming through. But Virtual Gaming are going to find themselves in a very, very comfortable position as a result of that. Wave and Leaders also relatively comfortable, but still, a little bit too close for each other's comfort. But the teams now sitting on those outlying regions are going to be having to make quite a bit of work to get themselves repositioned back into the safety of this next phase. And I'm especially looking at the players here from one round, where they're going to look to rotate towards. Are they going to be pushing straight towards shooting range Slaverny, or are they going to be able to find a little bit of a sneaky play to move a little bit further afield? But of course, the other question is will we see someone trying to rotate all the way up towards that potential Stolber position? Because as we know, it is completely vacant, so there is still a position to be had towards that.
It would be a pretty interesting point, just holding Stolber, even Kameshki, even the northern parts of Yasnaya Poliana. There's a lot of openings, as we know. Not a lot of teams do generally use that as their first drop site, but now, I mean, the option is there. Maybe Super Young Stars going through Lipovka can take that eastern rotation. I mean, they're no stranger to Severny, so I mean, it's a neighboring town. It's a quick dash to the east, but for now it looks like they will be settling there towards Lipovka, so we'll have to just wait a little while longer while the teams get themselves looted up and prepped for this next one. Blackjack Esports, of course, spread up amongst Mansion and Yasnaya, so a little bit of an interesting 2-2 split for them to really just capitalize on, well, I guess the most amount of space and loot, and then maybe even taking that rotation towards Yasnaya, holding a nice opportunity of cover towards the central portion of the zone.
Could be, but I mean, of course, as we know, Slime not playing this match, so Yasnaya is going to be open for the taking. So it does seem like Phonics and Co are going to be looking to get themselves at least situated towards that. But as we look down towards that southern edge, it's going to be Titan Gaming holding in towards Malta and Farm, again coming through with that 2-2 split. Now, this is a strategy we've been seeing coming through from Titan almost every single game, right? Once they drop down, they go for that extra bit of separation, just ensuring that everybody gets what they need and that there's no fighting over the loot between themselves. But that also opens up quite a bit of a dynamic approach as they now get ready to start to mobilize themselves to rotate further forward. But speaking about rotations, right? Super Young Stars, they could maybe lock in that rotation towards either Kameshki or Stolber.
Yeah, I'm still keeping an eye out for them because, again, it's just a quick jump. Yeah, I mean, they're already in Lipovka. They can literally just move up a little bit more towards the northern portion, holding then Stolber or Kameshki, as you said. And then they've got great positioning. into the next zone, depending on how that shift is going to be moving in. But either way, they will be setting themselves up for much easier approach into the next phase, which I just, in general, do like the idea of. But we're going to see Titans also jumping into the vehicles, getting mobilized alongside Wave Esports, moving on into the zone, looking for their next position, as a lot of the teams are now taking this opportunity at the 4-minute marker to, well, or the 5-minute marker, to get themselves situated within center. Leaders running a 2-2 split, yeah, between the center point, and a few teams now starting to move a little bit more north. We do see Zero Tolerance maybe jumping through Severny. Leaders also getting pretty close to that. Maybe they might take an eastern shift to Stolber. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, we are definitely seeing one round also on that approach heading in the direction of Stolber. So it could be exciting once these teams really start pushing on forward. But Virtual Gaming are going to have their hands full, right? Because we've got Zero Tolerance pretty close towards them, as well as Leaders. Then also, as I mentioned, one round. So there's going to be quite a bit of contention and fighting for the control of that Severny position. But Titans instead are going to be finding themselves in a little bit of an altercation towards that far southern edge. We've got Desert Flame also then alongside 1 million here, looking to move in towards this western edge. But again, 1 million now waiting in ambush as Desert Flame come rolling on forward, and this could be a great capitalization. But Zero Tolerance could also then start to bring in a contribution coming through from that just slightly eastern edge.
Absolutely, they could. They could be the wrench in the works as Desert Flame just try and make a dash across the bridge to join up with the rest of their teammates, Six God and DWAS in particular. Ooh, just need to get into the buildings. Let's get some cover going here, but that vehicle, unfortunately, will have to be left behind. Now, it is just a question about how they're going to make this up, group up with their teammates, and hopefully hold that control. Even Flacco still needs to regroup with the rest of the team, and you can see Buden out in some dangerous 1 million territories.
Well, I mean, you gotta risk it, right? You gotta risk it for the biscuit, otherwise you're not gonna get it. And of course, Buden now trying to make a quick dash is gonna be Lazy Boy to come through with a few of those hits. Fortunately for Buden, not making the necessary connections. But a 1 million now gonna be trying to either improve their position or disengage from this area entirely. It does seem like they are opting for a little bit of an improvement here, trying to get themselves a little bit more elevation. But Buden now in turn looking to repay them for the shots they sent off. But instead, as we now jump over to Leaders and Virtual Gaming, there's a little bit of a fight. Looking to see who can lock down this position first.
Alright, let's take a look at these things happening right up and ahead of our screens. Virtual Gaming jumping past Leaders Esports. Now looking at this, PRZ going to be the first member up on into the pressure cooker as they hold a nice little bit of a nade, just trying to wait for that perfect timing to send it on through. Gaddafi and Zeus might be the recipients of that, but just narrowly going to miss it. Now it's going to be a full-on split. Alpha Luigi even looking for a little bit of a flanking position as the rest of Leaders move on in.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The body about to get underway. There's going to be Virtual Gaming locking down the warehouse. Leaders, they want it. They want to be part of the party. But will they get the invitations? Out comes the nades. Oh, Morteza. Receiving quite a bit of damage right there. PLZ also going to be holding a very steady position. But still, like, Leaders not full on committing to the aggression here. Instead, it makes it so easy, actually, then, for Virtual Gaming to kind of deal with this kind of spread out play coming through from Leaders.
Yeah, no, there's a good bit of opportunity here, but have to wait and see. Zeus, of course, making the runs, making the trip around just to take note of all of their positions. Morteza are going to be stepping out to just try and force them back into their hold. They don't want to give up any position just yet, but Zeus is still trying to poke and prod, trying to look for a crack in the defense of Leaders Esports. But again, very isolated from the Leaders Esports team. If one goes out, there's not going to be an opportunity for recovery.
Yeah, a lot of poking, a lot of prodding, but as we now take a look at that zone, we can see Mad Knight, they've rotated all the way towards Stolber. Super Young Stars going even further north, but of course, a bit of congestion now starting to develop down towards that more centralized region as the zone has now formed up once again. And this is going to be applying a lot of pressure on the teams like Zero Tolerance, 1 million Wave, as well as Myth, Leaders, Legends. I mean, there's just pick a name. There's so many teams having to try and fight for decent positioning here.
Absolutely. It is going to be a tough time, but we know these teams, they have quite resourceful opportunities and skills to really apply the pressure. Is Zeus already just looking for Morteza? Where they're hiding? What's happening here? And Alpha Luigi will be helping out as well. That smoke providing a good distraction from Morteza as they just hide in the building, hide in the cover. One shot now looking for confirmation to Carry Boy, and all leaders under pressure.
Well, one shot coming through with that lovely vector. But up comes PRZ looking to pay them a little bit of a visit. The smoke now dissipating. This could open up a bit of an opportunity. But one shot doing that third-party peeking business. Oh, up comes the dance, and it is going to be PRZ to just dodge the spray down. But Alpha Luigi coming in with a quick response. Zeus now also pushing straight on forward in response to that. But Morteza trying to reach in from quite some distance away. And that's going to be the last hopeful for the teaming of leaders of Virtual Gaming. So in a position where they can actually piece this play back together.
And they've done really well up until this point. Now just looking to recover their numbers and hopefully take this even further. Leaders, on the other hand, well, it was a systematic, disassemblement coming through here from Virtual Gaming. But maybe Mad Knight might be sending both of these teams back into the lobby as both are trying to just recover their losses, get their numbers back up to where they need to. PRZ going to be confirmed. Zeus still bleeding out. So hopefully they will be able to get that recovery. But it is going to be quite a tough one reaching across. And Morteza still holding on. Now Alpha Luigi making a dash. Let's see how this one pans out.
Oh, we'll definitely have to wait and see how this one pans out. Gaddafi going to try and reach up in towards Beast. Ooh, a very defensive position being held here by Virtual Gaming. But Mad Knight quite separated, right? We can see we've got the Beast on the one side and the two split on the more northern approach. But I'm surprised to see Mad Knight not looking to capitalize on that position. In the meantime, we are going to be jumping over to 1 million, right? Lazy Boy and Marshall holding up the front line while we do still wait to see what's going to come through from Senke and the rest of the team over towards that far western edge. But Wave also not having the most ideal position to play from.
No, look, they've got a lot of, neighbors that they need to deal with. Darkness even spotting our Titans, making a dash for the center zone. And Tornado in particular, woo, look at that pressure cooker. The rest of the Titans, they've just jumped on in. They said, listen, we saw you. You know, you're standing out there with your bit of a Mohawk helmet. So we're going to be taking you out. Now the rest of Darkness looking to get back at Titans. But Teak is up close and personal here, DK.
Yeah, Teak is very, very close. So close that they can send a nade through and find that knock on towards Azal. But let's see where this one goes. And it is now Teak to get traded on down. Iron coming through with a beautiful spray. But the full send of Titan now being committed here. And down goes that hit. Of course, Axer getting ready to lay it down as well. Trying to find a bit of an opportunity. But Ghost trying to see if they can find a good approach to play from. Puncher is down. Oh, but P6 could still pose quite a bit of a threat. Iron going to be relaying all the information on through, telling the team exactly where to find them. Oh, but that is going to be Iron to get sent off. Axer pushing up in towards Puncher. Let's see now. Could Ghost piece this one together, right? P6 on the approach. And this is going to be quite the challenge now for Darkness.
Yeah, the pressures are going to stop anytime soon as P6 is going to be sending a little bit more of a recommendation to go back into the lobby as Zala is going to be sent back. Now, we take a look at the rest of Darkness. What can they do? What can we see Ghost perhaps pull on through here? Holding quite a bit of an angle, but P6 has an idea as the rest of the teammates have helped them out to spot out Ghost's position. Now P6 and Puncher, the duo are going to be standing on through and applying the pressure.
Oh, up comes Puncher. DBS. No, that was not the DBS even. Well, it sounded like it there for a second. Yeah. But instead, it's going to be Titan to take them on down off. They go Darkness, getting sent off. But now, as we saw, that zone took a little bit of a swing towards the more eastern side, right? Being inclusive of that slight waterway, it's going to be the end of leaders, though. But again, so a heavily congested western side.
Yeah,
Titans, they have this position. But Arab Golden also starting to venture up.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you take a look at that west, again, so many teams jumping on in, even a few more trying to take a bit of more of a northern approach. It's not going to really help them too much. Pretty much just the southeast is the only real opening that you can find, but that's also situated with the Titans and Arab Golden. For the rest of the teams, it will be a challenge to find a good position.
Yeah, but, they are no strangers to positions or challenges, so... we'll see how that one pans out for them. Meanwhile, it's going to be the place here from VST, keeping a very steady angle onto Wave. Wave, no, trying to lock down a few compounds, but it's going to be a very spread out approach coming through, as we saw D3S right there on the front line. Meanwhile, towards that northeastern side, it's going to be one round and triple esports getting into a little bit of a potential altercation here. One round looking for a rotational pathway to get themselves back in towards contention. They could maybe find something towards that eastern edge. A triple trying to stop them in their path. As you can see, E-Flex now taking a little bit of damage as well.
Triple Esports in one round looking to be the first team to entertain us for this third zone as it starts to close on up. Triple Esports now making a bit of a dash here, keeping close to the ridgeline just to try and cut off that line of sight that one round might have on them as they head through into the hard cover. E-Flex and Escanor in the meanwhile looking for an opportunity, but M7MD actually going to be caught out there by Zero Tolerance. So again, you can see the sandwich that Triple Esports now find themselves in. And yes, they just found that cover into the zone, but how is this next zone shift going to actually affect them moving forward?
Ooh, quite a bit, right? One round now having to cover quite a bit of ground to get themselves all the way back from whence they came. And Zero Tolerance going to be swooping in, finding those players on towards Chemos. Oh, but look at that, the nade, Skydo. What did you do? Taking down his own teammate. And that could also provide a bit of an opportunity for the super young stars. Triple Esports, they're not going to have anything stop them, right? Black 7 and 7 Reef are going to be looking to just roll up, get themselves a bit of an anchor point set up in that zone. Mad Knight also sitting quite prettily here. But up towards the north, we've got the players there from 1 million. In the vicinity, we have super young stars rotating on through. Messi also pulling up right here as well. And then down south, quite a bit of traveling still needing to be done.
Let's take a look at the super young stars and well, the rest of the team's moving on in from a very interesting position because, well, the zone is just applying that extra little bit of pressure. Triple Esports now taking a look at 1 million's position, moving on in from the north. Zero Tolerance, of course, after just applying that pressure to Triple Esports, might be, well, feeling the brunt of the action as they're looking for some of that revenge. But one round in a similar fashion, they still have to get into the zone, and already Knight down to half HP and maybe a little bit more with this nade coming on in. Oh, what is that, DK?
I mean, so Skydo was warming up a little bit, right? A little bit before, but there's going to be Lord now looking to just show one round what they can do. Already, the nades just fighting absolute beautiful connections. Escanor going to be the next one, but Lord will not survive that. Instead, it is going to be up to Escanor to try and quickly raise their team back up. It is that fourth phase blue, so he's going to be dealing some unwanted damage to these players. Zero Tolerance still in a position where they could actually, make a bit of a stand here. Maybe reach right on back and put a stop to the hopes of one round.
Oh, that layup was disgusting, but it was so beautiful at the same time. Of course, Zero Tolerance just on the edge of that zone. Arab Golden, as we mentioned, moving on in from that southern portion, right on the outskirts. They still have to yet find themselves a position in the zone. They're going to be facing off against VST. I mean, even Angelo, the scout for Arab Golden, is facing off against Desert Flame. Now, Ilias might be joining them. This is not going to be an easy entry into the zone.
Yeah, definitely not going to be the easiest entry whatsoever, but Desert Flame not going to be stopping there. We do see Venom, though, just on the edge. That could be a little bit of a troubling play. Virtual Gaming still holding onto that center zone. VST, though, going to be holding onto the edge with Arab Golden trying to push in, hoping for a bit of an opportunity. But again, right, very limited options. But instead, they are going to be pulling right towards Desert Flame.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one, Arab Golden. And of course, Wiz moving on through. Flacco out in the grasses, trying to apply the pressure, while the rest of the Desert Flame now would have to jump on in to try and rescue their teammate. It's not going to be in time, unfortunately, as D was also gets taken down by Marshall.
Oh.
So now Desert Flame, bam, in a sandwich.
Oh, yes, it is a lead sandwich indeed, but now 6, the final contender, trying to hold it up. You can see a little bit of the pressure being alleviated here, thanks to one round, as they now take aim on towards Arab Golden. But could this be that position now for Desert Flame to get back out of this, right? As you can see, Buren goes down, Flacco, follows suit, and now 6.
Nade.
Oh,
Nope.
My goodness. What? That was absolutely insane. What a nade. Wow.
Yeah, no, 1 million, they don't play. Hey? They've come through to take names and, well, just continue on doing so. As we do see, currently 1 million sitting with 4 eliminations. VST the only team right now that is stopping them alongside Titans with 7 apiece each. But we can see it's not going to stop anytime soon. 12 teams still remaining with 5 layers deep. As 1 million, they head on through with this 2-2 split, and now they might be looking for the regroup. Arab Golden at least have managed to get back up to 2. We'll see if they go up to 3. As Zero Tolerance gets sent back into the lobby, we look at our final top 11 teams. I do like the position that Virtual Gaming and Super Young Stars find themselves in this next zone.
Yeah, it is quite a nice position, right? But again, not so nice on the outskirts. As we see 1 round now looking to improve their position, or rather 1 million as they come flying on forward. With Skola and the rest of the players here from Mad Knight on the defensive now. Oh, but look at that. It is an absolute blow of devastation. Oh, my goodness. 1 million. What? Like, this short little few moments break that we took, they were able to just, I don't know, find something out of nowhere and just come in with absolute beast mode. I think they had a monster.
Yeah, no, they did. They absolutely maybe one or more monsters. Who knows? Maybe. We'll take a look, of course, as Arab Golden gets sent back with 1 elimination in 10th place. And, of course, 1 million. Need to be careful. There's a lot of teams roaming in the vicinity looking to take a piece of anyone and everyone at a given moment. Myth just behind Virtual Gaming, holding position in the zone as VSC joins them just towards the west. And, of course, this is going to be applying a lot of pressure towards Myth to manage all of the teams in the vicinity, as, you know, they're one way or another, they're going to be finding themselves in the open as Alpha Luigi, just up close and personal as well.
Wow. I mean, some pretty crazy plays coming through, but Titans also now going to be losing one of their players. It's now up to Puncher and P6 looking to find a bit of a continuation here. Triple Esports also still on the approach at 1 million. Oh, taking their next victims. Locking in the players here from the Super Young Stars. But there we go. A little bit of justice being played out here, as we can see the knock coming through there as the hit has been dealt, right? A little bit of that Zuxi action coming through, but all the way from the opposite end. I mean, that is quite some reach coming through here from VSC.
Yeah, I know. They're looking for another winner chicken dinner by the looks of things. Running that 2-2 split. And Leno out to the open, though, is going to give Lazy Boy the perfect opportunity. Jump on in, pick up a quick knock. As Titans and Virtual Gaming now look to capitalize, taking on a little bit of action of their own. It is a trade for trade.
Yeah, it is a trade for trade, but at what cost, right? As we know, we are running out of space in that zone, moving further towards that northwestern side. And Virtual Gaming not yet secured within the zone. But of course, in the same breath, we can say that about the players here from Titan Gaming. So it is going to be Titan now looking to move on forward. Oh, VST off in the distance. Getting absolutely obliterated as 1 million go on the rampage. But now Titan trying to blaze their way on through. Create that opening, whether or not it is available or not. But here we go. Will they find it?
Let's take a little bit of action here. 1 million now finding Triple Esports, sending them back into the lobby. Alpha Luigi's just looking for the spray down on towards Lazy Boy, who's just trying to avoid anything and everything. Unfortunately, not going to be quick enough to jump on out of the way of Alpha Luigi, who will potentially get that confirmation. 1 million, though, they still have 3 players in this one.
Wow, that is a super unfortunate play. But now Titans looking to jump back into the action. It's going to be Titans, Virtual Gaming, and 1 round. 3 of our Titans now clashing heads. And oh my goodness! What? S12K for the win there. As it is Gaddafi to stop Titans in their tracks. But now 1 million going to come creeping forward with those nades. Senke on the front line. Sending out a beautiful wave of utilities. Yep, that is all you need. All you need. 1 million locking in 17 eliminations. 19, sorry. 19 eliminations. 3 away from their highest eliminations we've seen in the season yet.
Yeah, you just forgot to add those final 2 booms from Virtual Gaming. That nade was delicious. 1 million putting up... I don't want to say surprising performance, because it's not surprising from 1 million. Again, like you said, 3 off from their highest elimination tally. So, expected performance? Do we go that far? Did we go that far? Not really.
Not expected, but not surprising, right?
No. It was
right. We've
good,
seen some absolute monster performances coming through from 1 million. But I mean, like, looking at this game, they just had their eyes set on that and winner chicken dinner, and they would not settle for anything, but we have to settle for a quick little break. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll be shortly back with more breakdowns of this past match.
Stalemate? No problem. Ultimate Arena decides the victor.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. If you're just joining us, you missed out an absolutely fantastic showing from the players there of 1 million. They dialed the aggression up to 1 million almost, right? That was absolutely insane showing coming through from them once again. But by this time, we've become pretty accustomed to that. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that we've become accustomed to this. But speaking about it, let's take a look at our match rankings and see just how many points they got. It's 34, 3 points shy of the highest they've had so far. 19 eliminations, but they weren't the only beasts in this game, right? Titan Gaming also stepping up then with 11 eliminations, and VST coming in with 10.
Hey. Once again, very top heavy on this side of things. That just seems to be the theme of today. But I agree with you, DK. It's weird that we're getting used to just seeing 30 bombs. That is not normal. And for all of the viewers at home, this is not normal. All right, this is not normal behavior. But the teams just decided that they wanted to step things up once again. And as we know, because it was so top heavy, the second page is going to look a little bit more worse for wear. But hey, at least the teams are mostly all picking up a points one way or another. Unfortunately, Desert Flame will be that one team that takes a bag of donuts.
Yes, I mean, it's a half a dozen as we can see, right? So, but it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. We know Desert Flame. They've already been proving themselves. Not only today, but, you know, in the previous weeks of play as well. And also through the rest of this week. So it's not the worst positioning to find yourself in. But again, some really, really insane performance coming through on that first page. Second page, as you've said, is a result of this sheer carnage that we had. But as we know, right, today is our back-to-back serving of Erangel. So we already had the first one. Now it's the second one that's coming, the final match of the day. But before we get anywhere close to that, of course, we need to take a quick bit of a reminder as to just how chaotic this last Erangel was.
It was spicy. I mean, even just starting with this engagement with leaders and virtual gaming, as virtual gaming systematically moved on through to try and take apart leaders, they did pretty well, of course, until we saw Legends of War jumping on in, and maybe even a little bit of a helping hand there with Mad Knight trying to take both of the sides out. But of course, Teak and the rest of Titans, they were just disgusting in these final moments. I mean, that final push into what I believe was Ghost from Darkness was tough, and then of course we had to just look at this disgusting nade from Lord to take out almost the entirety of one round.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Skydo was directing Lord, right? Because as we saw that first nade coming through from Skydo onto Lord, it's like, now do exactly what I did to you, but to them. Right? Do that thing. The thing that thing I just did, do that, right? But just aim it towards them, please. And And it worked. I mean, Lord got a really beautiful nade coming through in there. Unfortunately, Lord didn't survive that altercation. But, you know, it is what it is. Blue Zone also bringing in a bit of a helping hand there. But, you know, a very, very exciting Erangel that we just witnessed. But, of course, as we know, right, we are inching our way closer to seeing what is going to be happening towards the last Erangel of the day. Of course, well, no, it's already done with Erangels. Next up is going to be even more craziness.
Yeah, no, it's not going to stop anytime soon as you take a look at that overall ranking. 1 million looking for that 250 points lead. And oof, it is just looking so spicy. Almost an entire 50 points, actually even more so than 50 points away from virtual gaming. Don't make me do math, please. I beg you.
No.
But now we see the gap forming between first and second and third. And then the rest, not too bad. I wouldn't really call it too drastic of a gap between Titans, Arab Golden to leaders. There's still a good opportunity there. It's more so just that gap from 1 million today. It feels like a 1 million day with all of these Erangels so far.
Yeah, I mean, I kept on saying that Erangel's gonna be our final match, but then I remembered I've got so carried away with Erangel that's actually Sanhok. But either which way, it's like a mini Erangel, okay? It's a mini
Yes.
Erangel.
It's green.
That's what it is. But let's take a look and see what that second page looks like as we move on forward. Still, Slime 4KT locking in that 9th position, sitting on 100. Desert Flame still being 1 point away. But as they are going to be moving into our final match, right, they still have an opportunity to break into the century for this week. Of course, VST still hot on their heels. And it's going to be a pretty tough play for our remaining teams. Looking to see where everybody can push it towards and who will be the ones to reign supreme at the end of our final performances here.
It is, again, just it's a weird day. It feels like we're moving fast, if you want to call it that. You know, we've just been jumping from map to map so quickly that my brain itself is like, when didn't we just start? You know, didn't we just jump into the first map? What's happening? As you take a look into that last page, Mad Knight, Super Young Stars, TEAMLAG, Blackjack, of course, still pushing the limits, looking to get themselves out of this situation, moving into the top 12 to get that extra little bit of action onto Livik when we come back tomorrow. So still a little bit of work to do. As we can see, the points, they are starting to at least form that gap, but hopefully they will be closing it shortly. Again, very happy to see Super Youngs, to see Mad Knight in particular. They have jumped up quite well with that consistency they're bringing in today with their placements.
Yeah, but it's still quite a bit of a struggle to really break out, because we know everybody is stepping up and looking to shake up the performances. But of course, we are going to be taking a quick look at the schedule, right? Just to show ourselves where we are. We are moving into our final Erangel of the day, right? Number 2. There we go. That's where we're heading. And then we'll be closing it up with a little bit of that Sanhok action. But yes, Group B are going to be sitting it out in this match. So in case you are unfamiliar as to who is in Group B, we know it is the players coming through from Blackjack, Mad Knight, 1 million, and Myth. So we'll see them rejoining us back again over on towards Sanhok. So let's see where the teams are going to go. Who's going to shake it up as we have yet another helping of the exciting Erangel come through. Already, right, 1 million rising to the occasion, showing us how to play Erangel to its fullest. But are they going to look to replicate this effort yet again?
That is going to be the question, but the question on my mind is we're taking a look at the last game for teams like Darkness, Titan Gaming, Wave Esports, and then Virtual Gaming, I believe, is the last squad in Group A. So this is their last Erangel. They're not going to have an opportunity to join us on Sanhok, unfortunately, and this is going to be the last opportunity for today to pick up as many points as they can before we come back in tomorrow's game. So definitely Darkness out of those 4 is, you know, the standing out team for me. That look, I know they've been pushing the limits. They've already done so much better than what they've done in the previous 2 weeks, but we know they have to keep pushing, especially if we take a look at the grand total. They are still trying to close the gap, get themselves into the top 16 so they can come back into the finals.
I mean, but they're really putting in a lot of work, right? So you got to commend Darkness for their efforts.
Absolutely.
But of course, we'll get to see what their final effort for this day is going to be as we now move in to that match number 4, right? For some of the teams, it is going to be their last match, as you've rightly pointed out. Let's see who will rise to the occasion. Could this be the performance now for Darkness to maybe just strengthen their overall placing? As we know, right, it's Darkness, Titan, Virtual Gaming, and Wave wrapping up their performances here. But We'll see the players then from 1 million, Myth, Mad Knight, and Blackjack joining us over in the next match.
It's going to be good. It is really going to be a good opportunity for these teams to step on up and claim some fantastically well-deserved points. Of course, if you take a look at this, Arab Golden Soul Esports going to be very happy with the Flightbot moving on in from the southern position, because they can get immediately down to business onto that military base island, get themselves lovely and wonderfully set up and looted up. But of course, very, very even Flightbot once again. I feel like the maps have been, in a really good state for these teams to just get to their favorite points. Other than, I would say, that little bit of a Miramar weirdness we had, the teams really just are having such good opportunities.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's because we are having 3 Erangels today that the zone deciders, right? The RNG just decided, you know what, it's fine. Even though we're giving them 3 Erangels, we are going to be quite kind with regards to the zones. And even now, this eastern zone is very complementary to the flight path. And that, again, is going to open up a whole different can of worms for these teams, right? We know it could maybe be moving towards that kind of shelter position in which we already see Darkness and the Super Young Stars looking to push in towards. But only time will tell where this next shift is going to go, and essentially then where we'll have our inevitable final phase.
Absolutely. We know Erangel does get a little bit chaotic towards the final parts, and does have a history of showcasing these teams a bit of a surprise in the final moments. So we'll see how these teams are going to be working with that. Super Young Stars, jumping there towards Mansion and Prison, getting into the vehicles to try and make a bit of a dash. And Power Boy, yeah, well, no loot really to work with, so I don't know what they could have done differently in that situation other than landing in a different place.
Yeah, there wasn't really many options
Anything.
for Power Boy
Yeah.
to play out there. So it's unfortunate, but c'est la vie. It is what it is. That is life. And Legends of War now can continue on, looking to find a little bit of an improvement and bounce back from losing that one player so very early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a great opportunity. Still, it's not going to be over until it's over. 16 teams still well represented into this very early point of Erangel. And we take a look at what the positions are looking like now. Of course, Super Young Stars, they moved over towards Lipovka, so they will be hopefully situated there, leaving Darkness alone to their shelter position, so not jumping in with a bit of hot action there. Skydo from Zero Tolerance, however, is still relatively close towards leaders, and, well, I could maybe include Wave there towards Rozok, at least just in terms of holding that rotational path, right? If they choose to reposition, Skydo at least has that information. Knows exactly where they're at, but is obviously not going to be looking to engage without the rest of their teammates. Other than that, even maybe just a little bit of a scouting from Lag over towards, Legends of War. That's all that we're really seeing. We're not going to be, hopefully I say, seeing any immediate hot drops and seeing any more losses for the teams, as they're still so early into their looting phase.
Yeah, I think the time for hot drops is pretty much past, right? Because everyone's pretty much on the ground at this point in time. But yes, there could still be quite a few interesting rotations that could come through. I mean, Virtual Gaming, and they are yet to rotate away from the Savoni position. I'm expecting Virtual Gaming maybe to go around the waterway or over that bridge towards Yasnaya. But ideally, I think they're maybe going to push towards a little bit more of a northeastern positioning coming into this next phase. If we look at the team like Seoul, for instance, right, they don't really have to rotate because they are currently within that zone. But it's not going to be such smooth sailing moving in towards Lag and Legends of Wars, because see A9Q now about to have a little bit of a situation happen here.
Ooh, surprise, surprise, is Legends of War jumping on in to join the party, but Flick will have to really pull up their socks as the rest of Lag are moving on in for the pit. Hey, come on, he's already down, calm down. But of course, it's all going to go down to Merwing now as the last remaining member here of Legends of War, because Lag should be getting those confirmations, and Merwing is going to jump into the car and say like, yeah, I'm going to leave. This is not something I want to get involved with.
Yeah, that wasn't a very successful position for Legends of War, but it is what it is. Lashin now just dropping all their loot. Like, you know what? You don't even have to loot my box. I'll just drop it for you. I'll save you some time. But now Merwing instead is going to be looking to position themselves a little bit further away, right? Opting to move a little bit more towards that centralized position, the centralized region. And Lag, they're going to be looking to see if they can maybe spot them out.
Also, just did notice the monster cooler around, the energy drinks. I love it. It's so good. Thank you. Thank you to Tencent, because that is just such a perfect little bit of a, just an effect onto PUBG Mobile. So, moving on. Just small things that entertain my brain. Sorry to everyone. As we take a look at virtual gaming, moving on into Yasnai Poliana, of course, joining Slime 4KT. For now, we'll have to wait and see if they are going to make that dash, if they're going to make that park into Yasnai, or they're going to just maybe further out venture a little bit closer towards the center. We know the other team that they were just fighting in the previous Erangel, Leaders Esports in particular, have set themselves up quite beautifully towards the center. But now look at this, Titans, they've moved on in for a little bit of control.
Yeah, nice helping of damage getting sent out here by Carryboy on towards B6. And with that, it's going to be Morteza to reach in from the opposite end, following through. But here we go. The rest of Titan now rolling on forward. Let's see, will Carryboy find the opportunity? Oh, almost landing right in front of Axa. Meanwhile, Puncher is going to try and pull off that razor. Teak now applies the pressure. Axa on the front line, looking for the opportune angles to play at. Oh, there we go. Carryboy goes down. Now, trying to bring in a little bit of that repayment on towards Morteza. And, Titan Gaming just stepping up so aggressively once again.
Making such a beautiful statement here, as we know Titans to do. But now Teak moving on through, trying to find that angle onto Wasted, while Morteza looks to try and piece things back together. It's a 2-2. Now, of course, we know the pressure's on the relevant twos from these teams to try and bring this back, as Wasted sends out a nade. Ooh, he's going to get a bit of a surprise with Axa just on the nick of time, finding that perfect angle. But as we know, it's still Morteza here, DK.
Yeah, it's still riding on Morteza's shoulders. Let's see whether or not they can get this one secured. Quite a challenging position, I'm going to be honest. But, oh, wow, Axa getting so scarily close with that nade. Up comes the follow-up nade. Is that going to be the one? Finds a bit of damage. There we go. Morteza taking even more damage and on the verge of getting sent back. Finds a quick retaliation on towards Axa. Morteza not to be discounted just yet, but now in a position where they can continue to apply the pressure onto the rest of Titan. Teak now making a quick little bit of a dash, trying to secure position towards Axa here. Morteza just now needs to time the shot to perfection, but Lag is going to come rushing in right behind them, and that could really upset this entire development.
You just love what Teak does, gets that one res and then just is the decoy while the rest of the team tries to get their numbers on back. And this is exactly what it actually just results in. Titans finally getting the full confirmation of Leaders Esports and hopefully being able to take the rest of their numbers into the next battle. Of course, Lag is looking to try and deter them from doing that. As you can see, A9Q moving on closer and closer, and the rest of Lag shortly to possibly do the same. BST making their movements in from Fairy Pier. Just a few stragglers on there for at Leno, and of course Ko to just get into zone. But we shouldn't be seeing them running into any obstacles just yet. But again, DK, what's happening there towards the military base island? It's Arab Golden, Soul Esports this time fighting for the Eastern Bridge.
Yeah, and now they really have to push across, as we can see that zone now, forcing them to move on to the mainland. But again, we do have the congestion also coming through between the players here from Lag and Titan. But Axa in a little bit of troubling position here. Teak now trying to wrap around the shots. Connected is 1-9 to find the angles. Now Puncher trying to move in alongside Axa. Will they find a bit of a revenge? As we know, Titan really quite a formidable force. Oh, but A9Q finds the repayment right then and there. Axa also getting dealt a very, very satisfying hand. And now turns to P6, who doesn't have the craziest amount of health. And it is not going to take a lot for Lag to close the door shut on them. As we can see, Kakao succeeding in finding that finishing blow. Full squad wipe.
And what's beautiful about Lag, as you've mentioned in the last couple of days, they've been picking up some huge eliminations. And in that final moment, you can see exactly why. Pulling up with that crossfire and just their timing is so good, DK. Their executions have picked up dramatically in the last couple of days. And that's why they've been so good at these team fights. Picking up those eliminations and carrying that on forward is going to be crucial for them, especially if they are one of the teams to join us back into the finals next week. But as we take a look at this, what's developing on the Eastern Bridge, we see Arab Golden and of course Soul Esports, surprise, surprise, fighting for a bit of control. And this time, roles are reversed. It's Soul Esports, at least one of Soul Esports holding that bridge cap.
I gotta say, I'm completely at awe at the evolution of these teams that we've been seeing through this season so far, right? The changes they've been able to adapt, absolutely phenomenal. And again, it's resulting in some very, very satisfying performances coming through. I mean, Lag also just rising up once again, right? Time and time again. And, oh, but look at their hits, though. Finding its spot over on towards the side there of BST. And I mean, this is what makes the whole event so competitive is these teams just keep on shifting the dynamic, right? I mean, would you have thought on day one that we would see Team Lag rushing in on Titan and just wiping the floor with them?
No, no, of course not. Especially not after Titans picked up 100 points a day of play. So, but hey, this is what I've been saying. The teams have been changing so dramatically, not only from day to day, from week to week. I mean, if we could see their immediate comparison from the first day of PMPL Africa Fall till today, they would all be giving themselves a round of applause for just how ferociously they have had to adapt and improve their skills. And this is the beauty of PMPL Africa, because it really puts these teams into the pressure cooker and just brings the best out of them.
Yeah, they have no other option, right? Adapt or fall, that's it. And the team's rising to the occasion. They're like, you know what? We don't want to fall. We're going to stick it to it. We're going to adapt. We're going to bring in the necessary changes. And my goodness, they have really, really changed, right? I mean, it's like it's completely different teams. Completely different. I mean, 1 million, they've always been the same. Monsters, even from the previous season. But we can't talk about them because they're not here in this particular match. But it's fine, right? It's still just so great to see the teams really just adapting. But again, they will have to adapt once more as that zone takes a bit of a swing over towards Prison. And this is where things are going to get quite interesting, because it's going to be down to fastest fingers first, right? Looking to see who can get themselves situated into these positions. And again, it does seem like Wave and Desert Flame, alongside 1Round, are going to be making that first initial mad dash to acquire the edges of Prison.
Run, 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 run. We need to get into the zone. That is all what these teams are going to be thinking about. And of course, again, it's just navigating all of the craziness within this zone. We do see Desert Flame, of course, right alongside 1Round, and Wave Esports holding a nice little bit of a center position there towards Prison. But hey, it is still going to get hot and spicy as we look towards the outskirts, with teams like, for example, Super Young Stars and Seoul Esports fighting for control of the southern portion of the zone, trying to get themselves closer and closer. BST even maybe making a bit of an appearance. It's a boot, does do a little bit of scouting, gets the information, but backs up for the time being, as they do have, a great position. They're on the outskirts, but they've got compounds. They've got hard cover that they can work with, and at least they're close enough that they can jump into that phase rotation.
Yep. They are definitely in a potential position to do exactly that, right? But now as we look onto the rest of the teams, they don't necessarily find themselves in a similar kind of setting. We are looking back over on towards Prison, where we have Wave also now disengaging from their initial attempt to move in onto the edge here. And surprisingly enough, the team's actually avoiding Prison, and I can understand why. I mean, look at Zazal, they just come flying down from up high. Who needs to go through the normal entry point, Just fly down from the top. I mean, it's there. Why not use it? On the other side, we do have Arab Golden still trying to blaze their way on through, trying to get themselves resituated back in towards the zone.
Yeah, so I mean, if you take a look at this VST now, of course, just taking a look at what they can and can't make happen in this scenario. Of course, Super Young Stars quite spread out. And then Seoul Esports moving on into this next position. But again, I like the position the Darkness are holding, just alongside 1Round holding that 2-2 split. So they're going to be able to put themselves in a position where, should things really go the distance and, craziness starts to happen, they have that ability, they have that escape ability, most importantly, and they can even take a look at potentially just, spreading their losses, looking for a few eliminations here and there, because we know that's what they're capable of.
Yeah, but the trouble about that position that we see Darkness in right now is, if the zone moves in a less favorable direction, they will need to be the first team to leave Prison. Right? And I mean, what I mean by less favorable is like it centers up on Prison. Then they got to get out of there and get out of Dodge quick, because if the teams start moving in on those cliff sides surrounding it, like now, Yeah, that spells the end. So Darkness really having to find a quick way to get themselves out of that position. They definitely need to disengage because one round is just going to look to leverage that angle. Soul could do the same. Desert Flame also. So definitely prioritizing a position a little bit more towards the rest of the zone and not
Yeah.
in prison itself.
Delta's definitely going to be a hot spot and a very interesting spot indeed. Yes, I mean, looking at Darkness' position and the rotation they might have to take, maybe just getting out of prison now might be the best opportunity, just because of the opportunities that the other surrounding teams on the higher rises have, you know, towards that line of sight. But here we go. Seoul Esports now looking to provide one round a welcoming present to this side of things.
Yeah, well, speaking about welcoming, we are seeing Legends of War lag and the players there from Triple also getting into a bit of an altercation towards that western side rather. But over on the east, it is still the continuation going through between one round and Seoul, with Omar getting taken down. Not confirmed up just yet, but it could be right around the corner, as we can see E-Flex and the rest of the players here from one round looking to keep up those angles. Escanor just narrowly ducking in with that little ditch they've got. But again, a great persistency being shown by both the players here from Seoul and, of course, one round.
Oh, let it go, let it go, let it go. E-Flex going to be potentially the next member up on the chopping block, as YC is just applying a little bit of pressure. But let's see how this is going to pan out. Escanor now looking for that angle, looking for that return on investment. Hemo in the meanwhile trying to find that flanking position, but Rauf applying some great opportunities.
Oh.
Just jumping over nades, DK.
Yeah, Chico with a quick, beautiful preemptive nade getting sent out right there. Rauf now getting found out, and off they go. 2 players down, 2 players up. Hemo is going to be pushing, getting that res on towards Omar, but up comes E-Flex. Escanor also keeping the contention up, sending those nades on through. You can see if they can maybe find that extra bit of a disruption. And, well, Escanor does succeed in pulling off the first, but now Hemo still in the chopping block here. Firing line. Oh, look at this. It is an absolute barrage coming through. Up comes a quick little dash there with the vehicle as well. Hemo using the opportunity to get themselves repositioned. But is it going to be able to... Will they be able to pay it off, though? I mean, Escanor trying to wrap around, going through. Ooh, hoping to find that spray down. Hemo out just on the very edge of getting sent off.
Let's take a look at this. Both of these teams trying to finish this off as soon as possible, because we know teams are moving into the zone. That zone is closing. The pressure cooker is just cooking on up as Hemo finds a beautiful shot there onto Escanor. But another turn has to be here for one round. E-Flex and Chico, they need to bring this back.
Well, let's see. Hemo trying to send out a nade, but also receiving one in response. Finds the hit on E-Flex. Chico, now the final hopeful left for the side there of one round. What a turn of events this has been. But Chico going to try and quickly bring Knight back into the fight. As you can see, it's just knocked players all over the place. Hemo trying to make that final dash. Rauf right there, able to provide the necessary information. Oh, the shots come through. Finds a bit of damage. Chico just narrowly evading it. But will this be enough, though? Is this going to be that full-on send coming through from Hemo?
Oh, it has to be here. You can see Seoul Esports, they've been so consistent in the last couple of days that everything is turning around. Even Desert Flame now being the ones to send Slime 4KT back into the lobby. Things are weird, DK, but things are wonderful. It's Desert Flame. They still have quite a bit to work with here as Wave. Now they've heard that third-party opportunity and they're here to take it.
Yeah, and now we look onto the players here from Desert Flame. As you've said, right, already taken down the players there from Slime 4KT. Wave could be a potential next target. But again, right, that position up in prison, Darkness still being situated, not escaping just yet. And that blue zone, once it starts moving forward, is going to cause quite a bit of damage towards them. And then also adding to that, we've got Desert Flame and Wave also hanging around in the vicinity.
Let's move on up. Of course, Triple Esports not trying to look and do the same, but Lag. And of course, Legends of War going to be a bit of a problem, or at least mowing might be. As they're outside of the zone, Wave just up ahead of them, looking to be that containment, looking to force the action here for all of these teams moving on in from the western portion. Now, as we can see, the elimination feed starting to light up just barely as Super Young Stars and Zero Tolerance start to light things up, and Desert Flame jumping on in with one round.
Oh, but here we go. Mort now just going to come rushing straight on forward, right up alongside Vortex here. Of course, Vortex quick on the trigger, ready to welcome them in. But Skydo not being so fortunate. Paradox also getting taken right on down. Molly getting cooked up. Lord trying to quickly revive Skydo. But let's see, will Vortex be able to keep up the defensive line? Of course, now they're fighting right here up in towards the lovely Lumberyard. But is it going to be sufficient? Super Young Stars really looking to assert their position here. But could this be on the cards, right? As you can see, zero tolerance, still waiting for a bit of a vantage point to have. Messi cooking up the nade. Could this be the one to end it for Vortex? Instead, no, sends it elsewhere. What? All right, okay, here we go. Super Young Stars now instead looking to disengage, looking to fall back and then kind of set up a bit of a gatekeep.
Yes, this is what we love. This is what Zero Tolerance need as well, because unfortunately they were forced into that engagement. They had to get through that because they need to get into zone. There's only one real way that they can go, and unfortunately if they turn a little bit more towards the west, it's straight into VST. But we do see Wave, Esports, and Lag cooking things up on the other end, as VST also getting spotted out now by Lord, who's just taking a little bit of a dash through this, through the wonderful, wonderful forest, and deciding to pick up maybe one, maybe two eliminations along the way.
Oh! Wow, the crossfire is real. VSC now getting dealt such a challenging hand. Arab Golden on the one side. Super Young Stars coming in from the distance. Up comes Zero Tolerance as well, looking to just move up and find a bit of a cheeky play. Skydo steps up, and with that, it is VST to get ended right then and there. Arab Golden now also the next victims to fall to the fray here as the shots continue to come in. But Zero Tolerance still trying to piece their team back up again. Super Young Stars, rather, holding on the very edge. But a very brutal fight now for control of the southern edges. Paradox get traded on down. And Arab Golden bring in a little bit of that repayment.
Oh, Paradox. Unfortunate situation with Super Young Stars. We know what they need to do. They have bigger fish to fry. They need to move on in and get a chicken. Want to win a chicken dinner. Maybe not fish, but, chicken is going to be better for them moving on into those grand standings. Arab Golden looking to be the team to stop them from doing exactly that. Equal numbers. But again, Super Young Stars, they're much closer to the zone.
Yeah, let's see. Is that going to stop them? Arab Golden trying to lock down the southern position. The Super Young Stars got a close position towards the zone, but here we go. Skydo now putting quite a bit of a stop there to Ban's approach. Oh my goodness! Super Young Stars reaching in, making the vehicle go boom, and with that, it is the end of Ban and Skydo. Lag also getting sent away. Arab Golden still in the swing of things, looking for a quick little bit of a reposition. So a lot of pressure now coming through on the southern edge. Super Young Stars managing to alleviate a lot of the troubles that they were facing.
Yeah, they just need to find Chico there towards the east, and then they've pretty much got this side of things covered. Of course, Darkness is still in contention, Arab Golden, Triple Esports, and then the only other team with 4 players still standing, Desert Flame, coming on through from the northern side, looking to now continuously just apply the pressure towards Triple. But as we see this, Arab Golden, this is going to be a bit of a fun jump into the zone for them, because either Darkness or Super Young Stars, or hey, let's even add Triple Esports and Desert Flame into the mix, can really apply the pressure.
Oh, Wiz now just trying to inch their way back on forward. Some very close sprays coming through, but I mean, Triple Esports then also getting picked up and sent off. Down to the final 5 teams we are. It is going to be the Super Young Stars, Darkness, 1 round, Arab Golden, and of course, Desert Flame. But Desert Flame still trying to find a bit of a position to have up and towards that northern edge. Zol going to be holding steady in this Wizard Tower. But let's see where this next zone shift is going to be taking us. And I do think the team that finds themselves a little bit blessed could be the team to capitalize and maybe secure themselves that victory. But there's going to be quite a bit of work still to come through. So you can see Desert Flame holding it steady, trying to move in. That zone just going to that Valley of Doom. But now, Zizol having to kind of just lock it down, keep as quiet as they can find it.
Yeah, we've got a lot riding on the pulse here. Super Young Stars, of course, we know they desperately need to get this winner chicken dinner. We can see more jumping on in. Is going to get a surprise they were looking for.
Wow. I mean, Mord was looking to see if they can find anything, but instead gets found out. Now it turns to Nasa. Already 2 knocks onto Arab Golden. Ilias going to be the final contender. Winky and Nasa on the approach alongside Messi. Oh, could this be the play? Are we going to see a little bit of a cheeky hit? Oh, it's going to be worse, though, to get picked up. And up comes the head. Elias just narrowly avoiding the hits. There we go. It is locked on through. Super Young Stars get yet another play. But now, Desert Flame still in contention, actually using this opportunity to get themselves re-established back into the zone. But Super Young Stars now falling victim to the absolute blaze that is coming through here from Desert Flame.
I mean, why not, right? This is your biggest competitor. These are the teams that had the most numbers. So they're just going to confirm them on out, give themselves the space they were looking for, DK.
Oh, Chico, there we go. Chico ends it for the Super Young Stars. And now it is one player standing between Desert Flame and that winner chicken dinner. But Chico in a very tough spot. Yes, there we go. There we have it. Diwa steps up to close it off and secure themselves that glorious winner chicken dinner. 13 eliminations strong. I mean, we were talking about Desert Flame just stepping up and improving. And they did so much so that they now secured yet another glorious performance.
And this is only their second winner chicken dinner in the entire series. So you can imagine what momentum, what hype must be happening in the comms right now for Desert Flame. They must be absolutely thrilled with their performance. And again, I can't fault them. They did so well moving in from that northern position. A lot of things that they needed to handle, but they chose their opportune moments so beautifully. Oh, I love to see it already. Desert Flame picking up a winner chicken dinner, and we still have a Sanhok to go. So far, the team's really stepping up.
Yeah, really doing the business, right? The necessary job. But of course, we are going to be jumping into a very quick break, so be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you guys back in a short few moments.
Hey there, fellow PUBG mobile players! Along with the version 2.2 update, we have made a series of improvements on the game's basic controls. Let's take a look at the improvements. First, improvements to the controls and display. We have increased the display priority of the wheel when the throwing wheel is activated. Now it'll be easier for players to select the items they wish to throw. In this update, a countdown will be displayed whenever the play zone is going to shrink. This way, it will be made more aware of the next play zone, and players can plan their routes more effectively. We've improved the feedback effect of marked items. Whenever you tap and hold to mark an item successfully, the feedback will be more obvious when the player is aiming down sights. The markings within the scope have been optimized, so the sight is less obscured. When a player jumps, after respawning or deploying an emergency pickup, it's now possible to mark the battleground with light columns. After a team wins, the buttons for MVP likes and summon statue will be combined. Now players can send a like automatically whenever they summon a statue. On the results screen, we have added teammate numbers, so now players can use the number to identify each other and give likes to their favorite teammates. To make spectating more convenient for players, we have tweaked the button size on the spectating screen. This reduces the chance of tapping the button by mistake. I'm sure firearm balancing is a concerning issue for many players. In this update, we have significantly improved the burst shot of both the SKS and Mini 14 by greatly improving their handling. This will increase their stability fired consecutively and increase the damage dealt to enemies. Perhaps these two firearms will become your weapon of choice after the enhancements. For airdrop weapons, we have made some adjustments to the controls and damage dealt to better balance the airdrop weapons. In the new version, there are lots of new features worth checking out. When you acquire a firearm finish of your liking, you'll definitely want to admire it from time to time. In this update, we've added a firearm inspection feature. Players can now use this to admire their favorite firearm. During combat, players can tap the emote to enter first-person perspective to inspect the current active weapon. A friendly reminder, never inspect your firearm during combat, or you might overlook the enemies before you. Do keep in mind that this feature is currently only available for certain firearms. but it will be gradually rolled out to other firearms in later versions. The recommended layout feature is one of the many new features. When players customize the controls, it's now easier to apply a custom layout recommended by the system with one tap. We've also added a trunk system. Players can now make exchanges while riding vehicles. Use this feature to exchange supplies with teammates. But remember, the size of the trunk depends on the vehicle type. The visual presentation of profile cards have been improved. Players can now set their gender on their profile cards. On the results screen, we have streamlined the results process and improved on the layout, as well as the MVP results emote. On the new results screen, assists will be included in the stats. In future matches, you can try cooperating with your teammates. Even if you don't make the final strike, assists will help boost your results. We have added stationary targets to the training grounds. After firing, the damage dealt and bullet trajectory will be displayed. This helps to more closely recreate situations that players may face in matches. To make it easier for players to practice shooting, the most recently used firearms configuration will be applied by default when entering the training grounds the next time. These are the major improvements for the basic experience in version 2.2. If you want to learn more about this update's content, don't forget to follow the official PUBG mobile community. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. See you next time.
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. My name is DK and of course S-Proxy right here on my side. We've just seen some pretty exciting action, right? Wrapping up our double dose of Erangel. And we wrapped it up in such a note, as you'll see now on the match rankings, in which we had the players from Desert Flame locking in their second winner chicken dinner. Their first one for this week, but their second one in the overall series. So an absolutely glorious sort of events for them. Of course, 13 eliminations to culminate in 28 total points.
It's also so good to see Super Young Stars making an appearance there in third place with 16 overall points with their six eliminations. Wow, hard English. It's just it's not working with me. But either way, I might just be a little bit too excited with the fact that we see Super Young Stars really stepping up the pace and bringing in a good amount of points. How that is going to really change the overall rankings, I'm not too sure. I don't do the math here. But of course, we can take a look at that second page and see once again, you know, the people on the first page. I mean, just so greedy, DK. They want to take all the chickens for themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only one chicken to deal out per match, unfortunately, right? It's that's just the way it works. But Zero Tolerance making up for that, coming in with those 3 eliminations, putting them on a grand total of 4 points. And then we also have Titans again on their 3. But, you know, we do have Slime and Leaders, unfortunately, not finding any points in this particular game. And as we know, they're not necessarily in a position where they're going to be two-faced about that. But let's take a look at a few of the highlights from this past match.
It was so good to see some of the teams really stepping up. Unfortunately, Powerboy didn't really get a chance to do much in this game because they landed a bit too close to Desert Flame. But of course, we moved on into such a beautiful contention here between Titans and Leaders. And it took a while to get the answers because we know the teams are really good at just slowing things down and looking for how they can dismantle the situations.
Yeah, a lot of dismantling coming through. Just looking at the absolute sheer congestion we had coming through on that southern edge. I mean, very surprising play. But again, those third-party opportunities just being plentiful. And here we had, I mean, I definitely thought that this was going to be the end of Angela on that front line. But Murd, unfortunately, getting taken on down. So, you know, it's the beauty of these battle royales. You can never really know what you're going to get. It's always like a box of chocolates, right? It's always a surprise. But, you know, that's what adds to the excitement. And, of course, speaking about excitement, we are also then having to give a big thank you, a big shout out to our sponsors. So first up, Monster Energy, the official energy drink partner for the PUBG Mobile Pro Leagues. Much love going out to them. And aside from Monster, we also have to give a big thank you out to Oppo. So Born to Win, welcome to the exciting match brought to you by Oppo. Get your gamer mode on with the much loved Reno 7 series.
And this time I know exactly what color it is. It's leatherette. So that phone is actually covered in leather, which is really cool. Because every time the commercial comes through, I think it's brown, and then it's here, and then it's gold, and it's leather. That's why it's so confusing. It's leather.
There we go. We have an answer, right? It only took us 14 days to get to the bottom of that. But you know what? sooner, eventually, it will come through. And of
Sorry.
course, speaking about eventually, right, we are eventually making our way towards Sanhok, right, to get into the jungle, to close off the day, to see what the teams are going to be bringing in their final opportunity on day number 14, match number 5. To get quite aggressive, and we know we started yesterday with Sanhok, we end today with Sanhok, so it's a nice, full circle that we've come into. Now, moving into Sanhok, any expectations you have to see?
Ooh, look, in general, expectations, I still think the team's going to bring that energy that we've been seeing on Erangel and Miramar, and now it's just going to be condensed into Sanhok. I do expect the teams to try and avoid hot drops as much as they can, but so far they've just been happening regardless. One way or another, the teams have been, really showcasing that, unfortunately, these accidents happened. I am just wondering if boot camp is going to be the next hot drop on, the plate once again, because that has been the recurring theme. Once, one way or another, the teams obviously start to vary depending on the groups, but it has been pretty hot. So my whole expectation is just to see what's going to be looking like on boot camp.
Well, you got to drop it like it's hot, right? So we'll see how it goes. I mean, those are in the words of, Mr.
Yes,
Snoop. But either which way, right? We are going to be making our way towards the map. And just to end it for myself here, or at least we're going to my mini Erangel, right? As I'm so eager to see Erangels, I start to mix them up, but there's no mixing this one up. It is straight down in towards Sanhok, aka DK's mini Erangel, to see what the teams are going to be bringing on through. As we know by this point, flight path on Erangel. See, mini Erangel. Sanhok, not too essential. What is going to be more important over on Sanhok is, of course, where that zone is going to be forming, right? That is going to be the kicker. That's going to be the decider. And as we know, Virtual Gaming, Titan, as well as Darkness, and of course, Wave Esports, they've all concluded their plays for the day. So it's up to the rest of the lobby to show us what they've got. And to answer your question from before is, Virtual Gaming are 1 million. The difference between those two teams, it's about 50 odd points.
Ooh,
Rough.
yikes. Yeah, rough. We'll see what it looks like at the end of the day, but it has been a fantastic showing from all of these teams. And boot camp, I think I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned some hot drops. I don't like being right, DK, because unfortunately it means that all of these teams have to just sit on back. Some of the players are going to have to be like, well, I've been here for 3 seconds. Come on, what's happening? But right over towards boot camp, none other than leaders, and of course 1 round duking it out for their rematch.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, right? And the teams, right, getting down right to business. Of course, it is going to be Flex now, just trying to creep a little bit closer. But a very kind of spread out positioning being held by both leaders and 1 round. So curious to see how this one is going to unfold. But Chico just paying very close attention to the advances coming through here from Morteza. Let's see, is Morteza going to be able to find any plays here? Oh, this could be such a close call. Chico already set up, ready for this engagement. Up comes PRZ. It's going to be Knight now to rush on forward with that DBS. Could this be the one? Morteza is already down. Yes! Down goes PRZ as Knight lights it up with a beautiful DBS action.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. You can't have Sanhok without DBS, let's be honest, alright? It is the theme. It is the gun that we need. And Wasted is going to try and make things happen, at least with that Mac moving on in, trying to find a connection there on towards Chico. But hey, look at this double up coming through from 1 round. The beautiful bait and switch that we love to see. And immediately 1 round showing that they have learned from their past mistakes. We've seen 1 round being a little bit not hesitant necessarily, but slower to approach these engagements with leaders in particular towards bootcamp, and that's often at least resulted in them finding themselves in a bit of a sandwich. So now they've immediately just made sure that mistake was not occurring. They're not giving any other team a third-party opportunity here, and they are instead going to be taking those 3 eliminations. So as leaders get sent back into the lobby, of course, in usual follow suit, we do see Legends of War peeking into bootcamp, seeing if they could get involved.
Yeah, but they got to be careful because as we just saw, right, 1 round, they swallow sandwiches. Right? So they don't chew them, they just swallow them. Boop, job done. So it's 1 round is going to be quite a formidable force, especially looking at how they just dealt with that bootcamp situation. But again, right, as we look onto the rest of the map, Mad Knight having a little bit more of a comfortable position up in towards Hatin. We do see Slime or at least Plaza from Slime, just positioned over towards the western side, but I don't think Plaza's going to pose any immediate threat to Mad Knight. However, a further rotation could, of course, change up that entire situation. Of course, speaking about the hot drops, we are seeing a little bit of that action now coming through in towards Paradise. Not that there was a hot drop, but we know it's a position that also sometimes experiences an extra bit of love from the teams.
A little bit of love. I like that. I like the little bit of love coming on through from these teams, but we'll see how that's going to translate and how they will be, reciprocating that love in particular. 1 million, of course, moving closer and closer towards Paradise, looking at what Triple Esports have been up to. They haven't seen one another in quite a bit of time, so they want to just regroup, catch up, see what they've been up to, what they've been doing, what they've been accomplishing. But of course, Seven Reef, unfortunately, will be looking on out from the lobby, as in 7MD is just trying to get into safety.
Yeah, and of course, 1 million, right? We know what's going to happen here. They just step up and show up so aggressively. But it's all going to be down to whether or not Lazy Boy is going to be able to find those angles and create a bit of an opening. I mean, it is Lazy Boy and Venom on the front line. Steenke and Marshall still going to be holding back. But 1 million on Sanhok. The usual strategy in here is to kind of just hang around in that blue zone until those later stages. So I'm not really expecting them to full-on send towards the players there from Triple Esports.
Yeah, look, let's take a look and see what's going to actually happen from this situation, because we know 1 million generally do take that very specific approach on Sanhok, right? They have those two stragglers running the 2-2 setup. If things start to get a little bit hairy, they send the 3 in while Senke falls a little bit back and just focuses on the heal, because that's been one way they've been picking up some very fantastically consistent placement points on Sanhok in particular. But now, with Triple Esports there towards Paradise, it might throw a bit of a wrench in the works, but Triple Esports moving off a little bit closer towards bootcamp. We'll have to wait and see if they will still be continuing in their usual fashion. Taking a look at the rest of the teams, however, it's not crazy. It's Sanhok. I mean, in terms of rotations from the zone, we're not really stressing at any point in time, especially not now.
Yeah, but I mean, Lashin is stressing a little bit because we have those hits coming in hot on their heels. But again, they are pretty close to Seoul Esports, who we can see now just peering on towards them all the way from Ruins. And up comes the hits. It is going to be Flicks to get taken down. Powerboy, not AFK this time around, right? Powerboy also not hiding behind rocks. So let's see whether or not it is going to work out in their favor this time around. Hemo going to be sneaking in. I'm loving this approach coming through here from Seoul Esports. Let's see, is Hemo going to be able to find that? Ooh, Lashin already knows they're there. Out comes the nades, the utility is flying over. Hemo finds a bit of damage. And Omar just off in the distance to lend a bit of a helping hand. But a very spread out approach. I mean, we even see Broly there from Myth also taking a little bit of a scouting adventure. But again, where's it going to go now between Leaders and Soul? Will we see that full-on push coming through from Soul? Or could we maybe have that push coming through from Legends of War?
Okay, let's take a look at this. Blackjack Esports just giving us a beautiful showing here on the scenery of Sanhok that we don't always get to take a look at. So it's been a while since we've been on this side of things. Now they're taking a look at lag, of course. Interesting to see what could happen from here. Again, I love this position towards Cave because it gets so chaotic. But in this situation for Blackjack Esports, they're still needing to move on in. So I'm expecting that they're going to be taking this cautiously, trying to stay quiet as much as possible until they are forced into action, because they would obviously like to get the jump on Lag Esports, maybe take that a little bit further. But we'll have to wait and see how Lag are holding. Fantasy obviously being the lookout, and so far they've been doing fantastically well with that exact position. So I don't know, DK, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one here for Blackjack to move on in.
Well, normally we see the teams really slowing down the approach over on Sanhok, right? But it does seem like this match, that's not the situation. Teams are quite active, moving about quite a bit, and instead of waiting around and looking to play a bit of a surprise position, they are looking to create quite a few more opportunities for themselves. We can see that feed also now starting to get quite active, but quite a bit of also even more action now about to come through on this eastern edge. It's like a slow, steady approach.
Moving on in, the nades. We know how the nades do on Sanhok. Fantasy going to be the first one to send one in. It is going to reach quite a distance, but Has to go just a tad further if it does want to make a connection on towards Blackjack. So there's just a war and leaders obviously back into the lobby. Desert Flame move on in to crash the party. And just for a moment, Blackjack Esports, they step up, they try and find that connection, but maybe that's what Lag needed to move on closer and move in for the elim.
Well, we'll have to wait to find out, right? We also did see in the feed that the players there from Legends of War got absolutely obliterated with a bit of that DBS action coming through at the hand of Seoul Esports. Weiss doing quite a bit of damage to them. But now, it is Lag Fantasy cooking up that nade, looking to cause quite a bit of damage on towards MG. Not finding the necessary amount, but here we have it. Desert Flame also now coming up ahead, but the shots connect on through. Lag rushing in. Blackjack could potentially be in a little bit of trouble here. It's going to be up towards Phoenix now, who quickly and swiftly deals with the threat being posed there by A9Q. 19 also in a little bit of a troubling angle, but up comes the bushes, the blaze, and it's still a continuing altercation between Blackjack and Lag.
Oh, it's not going to stop anytime soon. Of course not, DK. They need to give us the action here on the last map of the day. And now we can see Reaver jumping on in, trying to get a hit on towards Fantasy, but Fantasy just not going down.
Yeah, it's now up to Chronal and Phoenix and MG to find a bit of a play. Zero Tolerance also going to come venturing up, just moving off in the distance, just on the outskirts there of Quarry. And that could also be a little bit of that third-party play at hand, but it is now Blackjack trying to find the more opportune approach to take Cacao. And Fantasy, the final two contenders. Oh, but down goes Cacao. It's now up to Fantasy. Already taking quite a bit of a drop on that health bar. Now drops down into Cave to seal their fate, and off they go. One round, and Mad Knight also in a bit of an altercation here. As you can see, Chico going to be the final hopeful left for the one-round team. But could this be now the play for Mad Knight to make and secure themselves that extra elimination?
It's going to be the question here. Chico just around the corner looking for that opportunity towards Mad Knight. Boom, boom, boom. Surprise. Chico cracks up, open the door there for Wiscola. And Tyson tries to get involved. But again, the angle's not quite in their favor. This is going to be quite the fight for Chico if they want to get themselves out of it.
Yeah, that single file attempt coming through from Mad Knight not going to do them any favors, as Chico is in a position to just let it rip. We also see Slime for KT holding in the vicinity, but the zone going to be centering even further more towards that southern edge. But let's see. Oh, Chico finding yet another knock on Mad Knight, and this is absolutely devastating. The Beast also getting spotted out in the open. Chico trying to take a double take on that play, not finding the angles though. Now Tyson is going to just lie in wait. And Slime 4KT, they are there just to pick up the pieces. However, this one pans out. But now Chico still in an absolutely phenomenal position. Already 6 eliminations for one round in total so far.
Oh, either way, Chico is going to be so happy with their performance. But of course, we want to take it as far as we possibly can. Slime 4KT are very dangerously close to the situation, as we've mentioned. Maybe just looking to be the cleanup crew as Tyson and Beast try to get their HP bars back up into a better situation. The last thing you want to do right now is give Chico that one-on-one. They want to take this as a duo. They want to get their timing right. Otherwise, Chico, we've already seen what they've been capable of doing. If they manage to isolate these one-on-ones, that could be the end of Mad Knight. I mean, I believe it right now, DK. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, that is a very good possibility. But of course, as we move away, right, we look on towards the players here from Slime 4KT and Soul holding up in towards the ruins. Soul having that slight bit of elevation, now reaching down in towards Koa, and the rest as they start to try and sneak up. It is going to be Plaza also just leaving that vehicle off in the distance. Storm and Pronto not being in such a favorable setup here, but let's see, maybe they can still play out this ridge line. Storm keeping their ears open, hoping for a bit of an opportunity. Weiss also going to be doing exactly the same, copy-pasting the approach here. But Rauf right on the front line. Now, it's going to be Tyson to step up as a solo. Oh, is that going to be the wise choice? Up comes the Beast. There we go. That duo play coming in. But let's see, Chico, will he be able to hold off the... Oh, yes! There we go. One down. Tyson is off. Now it all rides on the Beast. Could this be Chico to clutch out? Yo! The Beast with a DBS says no and ends it right there for Chico.
I'm shaking. If Chico made that happen, Oh, that needed to go into the books. I don't know what books, but it needed to go into the books one way or another. Desert Flame moving on in, of course, just to try and calm me down. Let's take a look and see how they're going to be managing to get themselves into this zone. Arab Golden, of course, right up ahead of them. Super Young Stars a little bit further ahead as they try and just patch things up. But of course, Zero Tolerance could be the wrench in the works here. Moving on up, really applying the pressure towards Arab Golden, while Desert Flame, they just sit back and they watch what is happening.
Yeah, of course now. Ab Golden in a beautiful position here. Great vantage point. They have the Zoran at their back. Zero Tolerance not being so blessed, right? They still need to cover quite a bit of ground. Find that opportune rotational pathway to pull off. But as we know, this is Sanhok, so that damage from the blue zone is really going to start amping it up as quickly as possible. Senke still to rejoin the zone for the rest of 1 million. Mad Knight going to be hovering about just out in that blue, but the zone is going to be centering up on Seoul Esports. And this is now where they are really going to be put to the test. They've got already quite a few teams held in the vicinity. But as we look down towards that southeastern side, it is going to be Elias here from Arab Golden trying to deal with the players from Desert Flame who are yet to move forward.
Oh, the nade straight into Elias is going to be the trigger here for Desert Flame to move on forward. Confirmations just around the corner, but of course, Zero Tolerance, they're going to be hearing all of this happen and moving in following that suit, looking to just jump and take a piece of the action for themselves. Desert Flame still needing to move into the zone as it gets closer and closer towards Ruins once again, DK.
Yeah, a lot of emphasis being put on that kind of Ruins positioning. But it just means so much more pressure for Seoul, right? 1 million on the approach, but as we look down south still, we can see Phonics now finding a little bit of a hit up ahead. Oh, but up comes Paradox now, finds a beautiful hit on towards DWAS. Down they go, and now all the pressure turns to 6 as the blue zone starts catching up. Super Young Stars also just holding off in the distance, but they do have to secure their rotation. So let's see where 6 is going to go with this approach. Meanwhile, Seoul, smack dab center, holds a bit of a vantage point, right? They've got these compounds. All they got to do now is keep their eyes peeled, but already we can see a slow, steady push coming through from 1 million and the players there from Slime 4KT.
All right. We've got a little bit of action just around the corner. Of course, 1 million. They have changed things up just a bit here, DK. You know, we mentioned them running with that blue zone strat this time around. Senke is going to be one of the first members of 1 million in the zone, looking to start things up, looking to rile up the action. Macy, though, out to the open, is going to get spotted and immediately taken down by Hansley as they look for a little bit more. Super Young Stars, they need to manage this. Only 2 players left, and they need to get themselves into the zone. But where are they going to go?
Yeah, that is a good question, of course. Now, it looks like they're trying to pull into that south, but it's going to be more now to get hit as Zuxi reaches in. Oh, now all the pressure turns to Winky. A very challenging play, but still Vortex coming in off the distance there. Phonics behind them. And this could still be an opportunity for VST to get this, at least the southeastern edge under lockdown. Oh, but now, as we jump in, it is going to be the end of the road for Blackjack as Ban finds the angles. Vortex also going to be looking to come inspect, maybe hoping for a bit of that third-party action. Let's see, will they be able to secure their 8th elimination? Zero Tolerance really looking quite fantastic.
Absolutely, I would hazard a guess that they are looking for maybe the 3rd. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but our Golden now, in particular, Ban has quite the tall order if they want to continue. If they want to take this further, I don't even know how they're going to get themselves out of the situation. Vortex now trying to move on forward. Zero Tolerance, they have those 7 eliminations, looking to make it 8. And what will Ban have to say with that? Oh, okay, the third-party hit. Super Young Stars actually might be providing Ban the space they need.
Yeah, Winky coming in with a little bit of saving grace, but Mad Knight and, of course, the lovely push coming through right here from Slime 4KT results in Koa getting hit, but the boost gets traded on up as well. Tyson now getting ready to face off against Plaza. Oh, but the third-party plays from Seoul just clutching it out there for their Mad Knight. Now in a great opportunity to get a quick little bit of a reset going while Storm and Pronto tends to their wounded. Looking to bring in that full force push once again. But Storm not following pretty close to what happened to their teammate. As we can see, Triple Esports still being in a beautiful vantage point. But up comes Tyson, looking to see if they can maybe sneak in a bit of a cheeky trade here. Oh, but Storm says no.
Slime for KT, they want these confirmations. CByoung Stars now unfortunately getting sent back into the lobby, but what will Slime for KT do in this situation? They need to close this up quite early as we're moving into the zone. Mad Knight can be a real thorn in their sides. The Tyson and the Beast, they need to isolate these opportunities here. Once again, the pressure's on them.
Oh, Tyson with a DBS again. Let's see. Is it going to work? No! Bronto says, nice try, but it's not going to work. Here we have now 1 million and Seoul Esports getting ready to just fight for control of the edge of zone. Oh, look at this. Omar coming through with some absolutely horrendously gorgeous plays. But now, will it be on there for them to get themselves back in towards that zone? 1 million still on the approach. Slime 4KT just up ahead. And it all is now riding on whether or not Hemo can secure themselves that anchor point.
That's going to be the question here. Hembo now holding an interesting opportunity, but it is going to be tough. As we know, VST just in the vicinity. Slime 4KT, of course, they can join in, should they wish. But hopefully the high-rise, the ridgeline that Hembo holds might be the opportunity, it might be the space they need to take this further. It's going to come down to the timing here. Of course, as a solo, that's all you can really rely on, especially when you're up against the likes of Triple Esports, 4KT, and VST, who are looking to take a little bit of a chicken dinner home for tonight. Oh, but look at it. Oh, the Hemo is in a bit of danger here. Slime 4KT is actually moving on up a little closer to that position.
Well, let's see, right? Not a lot of options remain in the zone. We got Black 7 towards the north. We got M7MD just a little bit further away, but now going to be looking to apply that blue zone heal strat. VST not going to be opting for any heal strats. They're going to be opting for the aggression strat. As we now look on towards Plaza. Zero tolerance get taken down. Skydo falls to the blue, but there is Pronto who falls to Black 7. Wow, one down. Few more to go, right? Slime having 2 hopefuls left. The Black 7 is going to abandon that initial approach. Instead, going to be looking to play a little bit more of that continuation. But VST is going to be able to greet them just towards that southern edge.
Absolutely, they need to find this opportunity. VST, though, that zone shift might be exactly what they need to take this and turn the tide to their favor. We'll have to wait and see what Triple Esports, or in particular Black 7, have to say, as Hemo does get spotted out by a beautiful opportunity there from VST. Looking a little bit further up ahead, we do have to see, though, how they're going to apply the pressure now, because immediately 2 players down.
Yeah, VST slowly starting to get this assembled here. Oh, there we go. Down to 3 they are. But that nade from Black 7 really fighting that sweet spot. But they also then get dealt a very nasty one in return as Luxie sends it out. Oh, wow. Never saw that one coming. But what a glorious retaliation. Storm now in a position to step up and maybe just clutch it out. M7MD now having to move forward. Can't really adopt that blue zone hill strat. Not all the way from out there, but let's see. Oh, Black 7 gets closed off. Zuxi now getting ready to take the position towards Slime 4KT. Still 5 teams in, but only 3 teams, 2 teams fighting for control of the zone. As we can see, it is Storm alongside the rest of Slime 4KT now going up against the players here from VST. Could this be Adleno to find the plays? Oh, Slime going to be such a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, Adleno now still in the pressure cooker as they get spotted out. I don't know how they're going to turn this around, but you know what? It's M7MD, DK. That is the only opportunity left.
Yeah, M7MD going to make that play. Let's see, will the blue zone devour them beforehand? Yes, the answer is indeed, as they get taken on down. The only player, yet again, standing between the team to take the chicken, and it's going to be Senke. I mean, this is now the second time that we've seen Senke do this, right?
Second?
Well, I mean, just in my very short-term memory, right? Senke just clutching it out with that blue zone heal strat, and I mean, it's doing wonders for 1 million, locking in that very steady flow of placement points. On top of the sheer aggression that they've already been showing just today.
Yeah, like I said, it is 1 million day. You know, they brought in that aggression. They brought in that fantastic game earlier on, picking up the 19 eliminations. But this time, they'll have to settle for second. As Slime 4KT jump up, they take the last winner chicken dinner for the evening. And it's so good to see, you know, that Sanhok coming to fruition.
Yeah, Slime 4KT, winner chicken dinner, 7 eliminations strong. What a glorious play that is. And I'm pretty sure that all their supporters in Nigeria are going absolutely over the moon, because that was a very satisfying winner chicken dinner coming through from Slime 4KT. So well done once again. But as we know, right, they've just added to their tally. And while we process this, we are going to be taking a quick break. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you guys back in a short few moments.
Hi everyone! In PUBG Mobile version 2.2, we'll officially release a new Battle Royale map, Nusa. Nusa is a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer tropical island. The island is bright and sunny, and has beautiful beaches, rolling hills, and dense vegetation. In addition to the natural scenery, it also has many areas that have a unique style and combat characteristics. Without further ado, let's take a closer look now! As a whole, being a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer map, Nusa is the smallest map PUBG Mobile has released to date. It also has the most compact structure among all the Battle Royale maps. We can make some comparisons by looking at the data. Erangel is 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers in size, and 100 players participate in each match. This means there is an average of 1.56 players per square kilometer. In Nusa, an average of 32 players fight in a 1 square kilometer area. Conflicts are intense, and players will start shooting right after landing. In the southern part of the map is a heart-shaped island. 2 paths connect this island with the gorgeous Pink Beach. The Ferris wheel and hot air balloon are both located on Pink Beach, which highlight the romantic atmosphere of the beach. But keep in mind that the terrain of Pink Beach is rather open and has little cover within a certain area. If players want to move around Pink Beach, they can do so with the help of smoke grenades to obscure enemies' vision, or push the beach balls on the beach and use them as moving cover. But if you do so, remember to keep an eye on their durability. In short, Pink Beach is beautiful and romantic, but you must take care if you plan to spend some time there. Bulan Bay is located in the northwest part of the island, and the coast is quite low there. The cliffs on both sides have a large height difference, and players can move between them with a zip line, utilizing the advantages of high ground. Players at the top can observe where enemies are moving in the bay. Meanwhile, players in the bay need to move around covertly. There is also a cavern connected to the sea in the northern part of Bulan Bay. Players can jump there directly. The cavern extends in all directions, and players can explore this area. In addition to the natural scenery, Nusa also has many urban areas, of which the largest is Telepak Town, which is located in the southeastern part of the map. Buildings are scattered everywhere in the urban area, and close-range street fights can break out at any time. There are premium apartment buildings in Telepak Town. These buildings have elevators that can be used, which adds another dynamic to searching, attacking, and defending in the building. For example, players can set up an ambush in the elevator. By getting in and not selecting a floor, they can then give enemies a surprise when they enter to use the elevator. The rooftops of buildings in Telepak Town are also connected by zip lines, which gives players more flexibility in urban battles. If the zip line is destroyed, it can be repaired with a tactical crossbow. I believe Telepak Town will give players a unique 3D alley combat experience. If you like fast-paced battles and enjoy thrilling shootouts right after landing, you can land at the Science Center at the heart of the map. The design of the modern orbital satellite roof feels really high-tech. The Science Center has 3 floors. Each floor is spacious and contains lots of supplies, which attracts many players to loot this area. As you can imagine, very intense battles will break out between these floors. At the top of the Science Center is a rooftop with a multi-layer structure. Players can look far into the distance from here for a great visual advantage. However, they'll also be exposed as there's nowhere to hide. If you want to land directly on the rooftop, you must check if there are enemies nearby to ensure your own safety. In short, if you're confident in your close-range shooting skills, you're welcome to land at the Science Center. Like the Science Center, Flame Village is also located at the center of the map. The terrain is quite low there, and the village is surrounded by mountain slopes. There are many huts in the village, and there are many places where you can stand on the beams of the huts. Players can climb or jump onto the beams to ambush other players. But there's one thing you mustn't forget. A tactical crossbow used with firebolts can set the huts on fire. This will expose the players hiding in them. Of course, firebolts will burn and deal damage to enemies when they are hit. In addition to huts, there are also brick buildings that cannot be set on fire in Flame Village. They occupy a large area, contain plenty of supplies, and are high conflict areas. If you're confident in your shooting skills, you can choose to land at Flame Village or Science Center at the heart of the map. It'll also be convenient for moving to areas along the edge. Other than the previously mentioned areas, this island also has winding and rugged mountain paths, a shipyard where the whistle roars, a regal resort with wide and open terrain, Sunset Street, which is planted with many banana trees, Crystal Bay, which has secret rooms, and more. These are all gorgeous locales that can bring players different gaming experiences. After hearing the above introduction, I'm sure players already understand what makes Noosa so uniquely fun. Lots of supplies for fast looting. The verticality of the terrain increases the strategic depth of battles. And the 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer size makes firefights inevitable. What are you waiting for? Gather your friends and enjoy a rowdy vacation on Noosa. For more details, don't forget to follow the official PUBG mobile community. See you next time!
Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. Of course, today is day 4, the second to last day in our very last week of league play, and we've seen some absolutely insane performances happening yet again today. As we know, we've had a few teams locking in some much needed winner chicken dinners. But let's take a look and see what the overall standings look like for this week's proceedings. Of course, it's going to be none other than 1 million sitting up in pole position on 265 points to their name.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. 1 million. They are our first team to really make that gap between first and second look also tantalizing here in the 3rd week. But of course, Virtual Gaming not too far off. A little bit more than 50 points this time, DK. You know, 1 million just had to make us both incorrect. So, hey, it happens. They had one more Sanhok. We understand. So, Esports, though, making a fantastic showing there in 3rd place. Arab Golden Desert Flame, hello, welcome to this side of things. 5th and 6th place, respectively, and picking up a really healthy dose of points. Very, very happy to see them on this side of things.
Yeah, and of course, as we can see, it's a beautiful distribution of those winner chicken dinners sitting right there as well, right? So all of our teams in the top 8 all securing themselves that glorious victory, getting those much-needed chickens. Not that they really need them, but they went out and took them nonetheless. So a really phenomenal plays coming in. But of course, as we know, right, this is only the first page. There are other teams, and we can find them towards that 2nd page. But the exciting thing is, like, even though we are going to be moving towards that 2nd page right about now, right, we are going to be taking a look to see, of course, that we will be having even more of our winner chicken dinners sitting on this page as well. With that, of course, I'm referring to Leaders, Myth, and VST Gaming.
Oh, only 6 points behind that 8th position's leaders. Esports team Myth, of course, not too far off. VST not too far off. One round not too far off. No one really too far off, especially as we take a look at the top 12 rankings. Darkness 9 points away from breaking it into the top 12 and to play their first Livic ever so far in PMPL Africa. So I must say, I'm a little biased because I do want to kind of see these, last minute changes coming through. So also holding a candle for Zero Tolerance, Legends of War, Wave Esports, anyone not currently in the top 12 to just shake things up tomorrow. Even, I mean, I welcome it. Once again, let's just on the last map, completely change up the top 12. Just throw a little bit of craziness in there.
But I gotta say though, Darkness, really impressed with them, right? We can see them, as
Yeah.
you said, right? 101 points. Now, that is more than they've had on either of the previous 2 weeks. And they are 40 points away from doubling the collective points that they were able to collect in week 1 and week 2.
Again, this is, I mean, how many more opportunities and examples do we need to give to showcase how well these teams have been adapting, how well they have been setting themselves up for success and really just pushing the limits? Darkness, we just love to see it, man. We just love to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just realized I said doubling, right? I meant the points put together. But yes, as we move into the last page rather, it is going to be Super Young Stars and Mad Knight. Both teams tied on 67 points apiece. But still, a very contentious play coming through here. I mean, we see Blackjack sitting in 20th on 48 points. As we know, in the previous 2 weeks, they've been able to secure themselves in that top 12 every single time. So, could we see that change up coming through again tomorrow? I don't know, because there's quite a bit of a gap for them to try and close to pull off a move like that, right? We are looking at about 60, 70 points. So unless Blackjack has a day filled with winner chicken dinners in store for us, I think it's going to be a pretty tough one for them to make it up in towards that top 12 position at least.
Yeah, again, we'll have to wait to see what the teams are going to be bringing back tomorrow, because we saw this actually happen in the second week. It didn't really occur in the first week. There was quite a bigger disparity between the teams in terms of the overall points. Week number 2 was just also healthy and competitive, and then we saw things changing up. Teams even jumping from the last page all up in towards the top 12 to play on Livic. So there's definitely massive opportunities left for these teams. It is just going to be a hurdle. It is going to be a challenge, but it is one that we have seen teams like, especially these teams, take up in the past. So tomorrow is going to be literally the fight for the finish.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be the biggest day that these teams have played in yet, right? Because it's going to be the deciding day, deciding who will be in our top 12 to make it through into Livic, who will be in our top 16 to make it towards the finals, but also the decider to see how many teams, how many points rather, bonus points these teams were able to lock in for this week, but also for the league stage in its totality. So tomorrow is the biggest day outside of the finals that these teams will have, and there's going to be so much on the line. So I'm expecting that tomorrow the teams are going to blow our socks off. And, well, we'd love to hear what your predictions are coming through for tomorrow. So be sure to hit us up on our social media. Of course, you can head on over to PUBG Mobile Esports Mena on YouTube. You can hit us up on Facebook on PUBG Mobile Esports Africa. And then, of course, just PUBG Mobile Mena Esports on TikTok. Be sure to include the hashtag along with your comments, right? Tell us what you think, what your hopes and dreams are moving into that final game tomorrow. But tell us, who do you think is going to be those top 12 teams to move through? Is it your team that you are supporting, or have you changed sides and started to support somebody else?
Sacre bleu. Imagine changing up the fan base here into the last week. Of course, again, I can't blame any of the teams. The storylines that we've been seeing from everyone has been so inspiring. Whether you are looking at the dominators being Titans, 1 million virtual gaming leaders, or you're looking at the, the dark horses that have really had to work to get themselves into a fantastic position, like, Darkness, but not intended, Desert Flame. We even saw Zero Tolerance moving on up. We saw Arab Golden, still Esports in recent days being so consistent. There's been a storyline for anyone and everyone to really fall in love with. And again, that is just the beauty of the African region and all the action they keep bringing us.
Yeah, it's a very, very tough competition coming through. I mean, yes, as you've said, right, we had a few teams that have been dominating, but they've not been dominating on a daily basis, right? They have their one day, which they have their absolutely insane performances, but then they're toppled by another team that says, you know what, if you can do it, we can do it, and then they do it. We've seen that happen, especially in week 2, with where Titans brought in that 100 point a day, then 1 million replicated the efforts, also locking in 100 points a day. And so far, these teams really shaking things up. So that only leaves even more excitement for tomorrow. So be sure to join us in tomorrow as we get into our very last day of league play right here in the PUBG Mobile Pro League Africa Fall 2022 season. But until then, stay fresh, stay frosty. We hope to see you all back again tomorrow for even more PUBG Mobile action.
Something for the next round. Something for the next round. Gonna give you just a little more. The brother's coming